Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Hold on, let me get my earbuds out. I heard that they were kind of quiet. Oops, if you can hear me, somebody let me know.
That sounds way better, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're nice and loud. Well, not too loud.
yeah, I took the earbuds out. I got to get some new ones anyway. but um, I want to welcome you guys on tonight, guys. I wanted to take a little bit of time, kind of let you guys see some of the things that I think are happening. We got to be highly, highly, highly careful because I've seen over time that when the people start getting massive action together, there's always at the same time actions and movements of people that do not work, that are put out there in order to mix and muddy things up. And so I told some of you guys a little bit ago, I told you guys about the one woman who tried to meet me. She was actually a witch. I saw she made a mistake on her page on Facebook when she got hired several years ago. She made the mistake of saying, I finally got my position in in the intelligence community." So, in other words, it seems as if she was a fed. She was definitely a guaranteed, straight up, 100% literal witch, for real. And she had pictures on her page of a guy who was a confused sexually gentleman, who also had pictures on his page, or a connection to another guy who had a page who drew little cartoon characters that looked like bad situations. For instance, one of them said um, something. It was a little girl talking to a man who was her dad, and pretty much saying he's raping her, right? And then there was other pictures of people's hair burning, like women being brutally beat up, tied up with their hair set on fire, and the such. Now, this strange woman who I didn't realize she wanted to meet me because she sent me a message and I didn't see it, but she went to go visit a woman. She went to go visit somebody in California. Then she went from there to Alabama and met a woman in Alabama. The Alabama woman told me that the woman told her, "Let's go to the river wherever the water is." And she said she felt kind of funny about it. And she said, "Oh, yeah, you know where some boats are or something? Where's the water? I want to see some boats, right? I'm thinking about buying a boat." And then she's riding around the car with this advocate. Now, this other woman who's the advocate was driving by and saw the advocate I know's car, not the witch, right? But the witch was in the passenger seat. So the woman who was the advocate who was going by slowed him down and said, "Hey, where y'all going?" So the advocate I know who was in the car with the witch, who was the agent, said, "Oh no, she said we were going down to the river." And then the other woman, the witch, said, "No, no, 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 we were just driving around, some." So she denied that they were going to the water. So the woman who I knew at the time felt strange because this woman was asking her to go to the water. Now, you guys know that there's a lot of mistaken deaths. It seems like that people just popped up in the water and we don't know why they drowned, but it happened, right? So, stranger than that, the woman who was the witch pulled up and saw the woman that I know's boyfriend and daughter, right? So she said, "Who's that guy and who's that girl?" She said, "Oh, that's my daughter and that's her boyfriend," right? So the next day, they find the boy in a car. I think he might have been shot, I'm not sure, dead with gas all in his hair. All in his hair, right? So So mysteriously, she didn't get that lady to the water. But then the next day, after she sees her son, the son died. The lady's boyfriend, kid's boyfriend. So it was somebody else's son, but it was her daughter's boyfriend. So she set up to go visit that lady. They ended up dead. Now, what you'll find is that same lady who wanted to meet me, who went to go meet this lady, and her son, her daughter's boyfriend, ends up dead in the middle of a field, out of nowhere. She was also in California a little bit before that. Now, in California, you'll find, if you guys remember the stories, there were, I think, a man and his wife who were advocates, like fighting against bad stuff with government. The lady was in California. That couple of weeks before, woman and her husband, I believe it was, or just the husband, I think it was the woman and her husband, ended up dead in California. So then she sent me a message saying she was passing through to Arizona and she wanted to meet with me. Now, people know how I am. I really don't roll like that. I'm a ghetto dude. I'm from the hood. I've seen a lot of people get set up and shot up and killed. I'm a lot different than most people. I watch where I go. I don't play around with meeting people that I don't know, right? And if I meet you, it's probably going to be on my terms, and I'm going to meet you, and you're not going to know. It's not going to be you're going to set me up, right? So this woman tried to meet with a ton of advocates. She got this funny character in her page. Now, what's strange is this witch lady. She was friends with another lady who spoke on my Twitter today, talking about, Dave, you know me for 6 years, and we all got to come together and unite. And I sent you people and all this bullcrap. But the woman never, ever, ever. Now, this is what made me block this lady when I was on Facebook. So here it is. I was a dude who gave up all my business, had a fight with CPS, busted my butt trying to make stuff happen. And I would help people and go crazy, like staying up, studying, and then giving people the information I had for free all over the country. And people used it. You guys can see Leah Cushman had people come on. They told y'all they got kids back using my stuff. I got to a lot more people. But some of these agents started telling the people, you better not tell that David is helping you guys, right? So I've always had this situation where bad CPS agents and other actors just happen to pop up where I am, and they're not supposed to know me, but somehow they end up following me, and um, they end up studying me, and some of them will act like they're followers of mine. Some of them will lie and fake and say stuff like David sold me an affidavit or this, that, and the other, so they could have something to say, because their whole goal is to stop the people from learning the truth so we can stop the trafficking, because their kids that they steal come from trafficking. You're going to find there's a lot of Masons, a lot of witches and bad sororities that are all together trying to stop the people from learning. So this one lady who was talking trash today, she made a post under Ann Vandersteel stuff. Now, I know a lot of people who deal with Ann Vandersteel. I've been on Ann Vandersteel's show. And I told Ann that the American state national stuff and some of this other stuff is not looking at complete law. They're not they're not putting the pieces together. They're not making sure their stuff is airtight. A lot of you guys know I used to be super cool with Dave Straight. But I had a situation where I started asking David Straight, hey, can you show me where this law came from you talking about, or where it was? And there were spots where he said, just take my word for it. I said, that's not what the Bible tells me to do. I need you to show me. Now, all of this stuff, I guess, has a purpose, because when you're seeking truth and knowledge and wisdom, you're going to get some dumb stuff. You're going to get some wise stuff. And the Bible tells you to study to show yourself approved. When it comes to the Bible, you should apply that same thing to everything else. You'll see where Jesus said, it is written to Satan. There is no better argument than the ones that Jesus would make. And so when you have people who tell you, just accept what I say because I'm cool, I got a big name, whatever, I got a following, that junk is dumb, right? And so I'm going to tell you guys, we have had a lot of victories. Um, with studying and getting specific law and making sure we can point out what it is that we're saying. We got to be able to show it. We got to know, excuse me, we got to know 100% what we're saying, because attorneys and bad actors can lie, they can deceive, they can make mistakes in what they say a million times. But if we make one mistake on something that we say, usually attorneys are not going to let us sleep. They're not going to let it go away. They're going to just sit on it and try to act like, oh yeah, well, you didn't know this or that, and they're going to just try to shame you with it, because their whole goal is to make you look dumb so that they can keep people from getting justice. That's the whole name of the game, guys. Attorneys don't get money by teaching people to win really fast or helping people to have the nation back. Because when we have the nation back, guys, we don't need attorneys. There's nobody attacking us. The big attacks that's come from government, there's always an attorney saying, oh, it's okay, just take their money, take their house, take their car, take their dog, take their grandma. You got a right to do that. And then you got to wait until you get to the Supreme Court to fix it. But why is it that right now today, many of you guys are amazing, powerful, um, just wonderful fighters who are just using the law in simplicity, right? And then we end up in a situation where attorneys are coming to fight you, and you got to realize what they're literally telling you. They're coming to you to fight you, and all they want to say is you don't have rights. You don't have a right to fix government. You don't have a right to be safe. You don't have a right to have your property. You don't have a right to have your money. You don't have a right to control your health. You don't have a right. You don't have a right. You don't have a right. Now, notice, there are no big attorneys in America that wanted to just come teach you your rights and help you to do it and go against the bar. Who's attacking the people? None, right? If there's one or two who talks about the bar might be bad, they're still part of it, and they're not saying I'm not going to pay them no more. So understanding this, what you got to see, guys, is when they had the Branch Davidians, and they had uh, some of these other guys who were leading people in the wrong way in big movements in history, you'll find that a lot of people taught their people to be violent. A lot of people taught their people to do things that were stupid. Um, and for us, guys, the more that we get wins, the more that these people come trying to infiltrate. And I'm just going to tell y'all straight like it is. And please share this if you would, if you want to. If you don't, you ain't got to share it. No big deal. But I'll tell you guys that some of these guys who are doing these things that don't work, some of them actually came to some of our memberships to learn some of the stuff we do. Ron Bouchard was on a um, space with these guys the other day. He also helped them write their notices. And I had this woman call me a couple of months ago, and she was asking me to join them. And they got this big group of thousands of people, and they got all the big names and all this and all that. And they want me to come sit on the stage with them so I can be there while the other speakers are speaking and all this bull crap. And I'm like, look, first of all, um, if I'm coming to tell the truth, I'm coming to tell the truth, but I'm not coming to sit on nobody's stage while people teach some things that I definitely 100% don't agree with. I definitely don't want to be famous. And I understand, guys, and Violet brought this up. Um, there's legislative body members in federal Congress who are telling you that they're getting documents that are thousands of pages that nobody read. And they're being told you got to pass it or the mountains are going to crash down on our head and kill us. Aliens are going to come. The world going to end. So you got to realize when there's a 1,000-page document, the government ain't got enough time to read it. So when you get these movements, and it's the Bond for the Winds people, state, national people coming together with some other people, they're teaching to do these 5,000-page documents. 5,000-page documents. They're turning that in to government officials, guys. Now, I do notices that's a page, page and a half. I got a lot of people who have shown that they've had wins doing what I do. We're going to have Leah Cushman if she can. We're going to have another person come on who got their kids back. kid back using my process, and they're going to tell you what happened and break it down for you. Um, just so you can see even more winning, right? But what's crazy is, guys, when you understand what's really happening, these people are turning in 5,000 page documents. I want y'all to understand what happened. See, when you fake remedy, you can start saying some stuff and get people moving. Like Maricopa County had this event where some people came and said that they served Maricopa County, and it was all on Twitter. And then they said, yeah, they served them and everything shut down. And then the entity that did it was the Bonds for the Wins people, this Connie, Mickey Klein, and this Michelle, I think, or Mary lady, I can't remember her name, that called me, and a couple of other people. They literally, for a couple of days, left it out there that um, they shut down Maricopa County meeting and made the people run out. And then a couple of days later, they come out and they say, oh, yeah, well, that's not actually how it happened. So, in other words, they drew a whole bunch of people in. And this is what happens, guys, when we're getting big victory. See, look, this is how you can see it's different. We already got government officials in the midst of us talking to us. We've been teaching government officials for years. It's known now. We hid it at first so trolls wouldn't try to interfere. But it's already known that it's happening. We see state government officials opening up committees based on us telling them to do it. We see We the People notices in Michigan actually removing bad government actors from office, which people told you not too long ago it couldn't happen, right? So we already have this success. So you got to ask the question, why would a woman call me and try to get me to sit under her as they consume all of the avenues for remedy so that everybody's on the same page? I'm going to warn you guys. You got to understand, guys, God and the Bible don't tell you to just align with people just to be on the same page. As a matter of fact, the woman who was on the phone with me got upset with me because she said I talk about God and stuff, and what if she don't believe? I'm like, I don't care what the freak you don't believe. I know what the freak works, right? I know what the freak I do. I'm not freaking. And the lady's name who I talked to was Maureen Steele. Um, and she said to me, like, well, what if I don't believe in God? I'm like, I don't care what you believe. I know what the truth is, and I don't bend or change for anybody, right? See, I can teach you guys the truth, right? Some of you guys are a little rougher than me. Some of you guys are a little nicer than me. Some of you guys are definitely prettier than me, right? So, look, I don't try to force you guys to be different than who you are, right? I let you use what God give you, right? I can't be a Pilsner. Pilsner got tech knowledge I can't touch with a 10-foot pole. I'm not trying to compete with Pilsner. I can't do it, right? Not as smart as him. I'm not made for this. I'm not as organized as him. It just ain't going to get done, right? It ain't going to happen. Now, I'm thankful for the power that Pilsner has. Why? Because I'm a nothing and God brought Pilsner in the midst of our presence. And if we didn't have a monster like Pilsner, we couldn't do a lot of stuff that we do. If we didn't have We the People notices tearing up stuff in Michigan in a good way, it wouldn't happen. Why? Because I can't do it. Is nothing wrong with being a man and understanding the value that God gives you. And when you're playing in a realm that God bless somebody else, you get the freak out their way, right? When I see CC come and dropping wisdom, CC, that's my CC, right? When I see CC come and she start dropping historical knowledge, she been doing this so much longer than me, and she's so good in her studies. She got knowledge and fire I've never seen before. When CC start dropping knowledge, you don't stick your chest up and say, but look, I'm the teacher, blah, 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 blah. No, you humble yourself in front of greatness. Why? Because God brought her here. Why? For a time such as this. Every single one of you, even Benji as a 25-year-old, got stuff that y'all could do that I can't do. Every single one of y'all. And if you notice, I don't try to challenge you in your power. I don't, right? If we're talking about the law and I'm trying to get you to be precise and say exactly what it said, I'll do that. But I don't play with you in your power. God didn't make me to be a match for you in your power. What God does is he opens the door for us to have resourcefulness, meaning I might not be able to find something in a law book as quick as Denise can. So I'm gonna call Denise and say, Denise, can you help me find this real quick, please? Because I got this and that going, and I got to get 5 or 6 things together, and I know you would take care of it. Can you look it up for me? Right? If I got to make good short videos, right? I don't just do it. I don't just, y'all know, I make my mile long videos. I make very few short videos. And people say, Dave, why can't you just chop it up for the people with ADD, right? Why can't you just cut it up for the people who don't like this long jump? And this is what I say. Look, dude, there's some guys who can make videos very well. If you get Riley and Mr. B, they'll chop that junk to freak up. And they're good at it. And they're growing in their law knowledge and they're making points and catching people when they make bad points. These guys are freaking fire. Now, can I do it exactly like them? No, right? If you look at meetings with legislators, Jackie Kanzler, um, Sandy Zane, 4 times such as this, Benji, uh, um, my brother in Christ, Jaron Jackson, and there's so many more, y'all. Chris, Andrew, Andy, right? All of you guys have gone out, Denise, and talked to government officials and attorneys and drop fire on them and open up the doors for us to have discussions. Powerful people, right? Now, can one chocolate Negro from the ghetto get with everybody's government officials and just talk to them and make stuff right? No, right? You guys got gifts. Some of y'all just got the courage to go speak in front of anybody, right? Y'all just walk up to anybody, start a conversation about law. This is what y'all do. So, in a nutshell, guys, I don't try to interfere with your power. I try to get you to stand in your power. So I'm all down with uniting with people who will follow what's right, who will not mock God. If you mock God, everybody pretty much know I ignore your anus like it's no tomorrow. I tell you to kick rocks. I ain't trying to learn from you. Get the freak out of here. Because the Bible tells me that if I sit in the seat of the scornful, that I'm not going to be blessed and I'm not going to have victory. Now, being somebody that has had a lot of victory, I know that the formula that God gives works. And I've seen you guys win over and over and over again. I've seen you guys stand for your rights. I've seen you stand for your PMAs. I've seen you guys help other people to stand and learn. And I'm down for fighting for people who care about each other, right? I had a guy earlier who somebody mentioned me and he said, oh, no comment or whatever over some CPS stuff. But I allowed the guy to come on the show the other day and talk. But y'all notice, do y'all ever hear me crying or going around talking about I'm so hurt because of what happened to me with my CPS case? Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear me walking around trying to tell everybody my story? See, guys, I'm not in this for myself. I understand that my remedy is tied in everybody else's remedy. As soon as I do what God gives me to do, yeah, I remember my son before he left. He said to me, Daddy, we'll be back really, really, really quick as soon as you're done fighting. I knew that God had a fight for me to do. I knew that God was going to hold my kids until I got the job done. I knew that I had to teach the other people to get victory too. I could see clearly that God was tired of wrong that's being done to people all across the nation in all different types of ways with J6, all this stuff. And let me throw this in real quick. Didn't I tell y'all they were going to have to send them J6 people back home? Didn't I tell y'all that? Y'all see they working that refund policy right now because they unlawfully did it. We sent notice about them unlawfully doing it. You guys have spoken up, and the government, uh, the judges are looking and saying, man, maybe they're not prosecuting these people by right law. Y'all saw we did that document over Trump's unlawful insurrection claims and how he had the right to do it, and they took those 6 charges off of Trump's case. Really deep. really deep. It could be happenstance. Everybody says, yeah, it's all coincidence, all like, 300 times that you guys do something and something happens, it's all coincidence. And I'm like, well, shucks. If we write something and the Supreme Court comes out and says the same thing we say over and over again, you could say that it wasn't because of us, and that's fine. But at least be real and say, well, you know what? The Supreme Court must think exactly like you guys. We got to tell you, you guys are just as smart as the Supreme Court, because everybody always saying the same thing these days. You guys tell ahead of time what they're going to say. We know it's not you because you didn't do a normal court process. But dang it, they talking just like you. So, but we just got to say, y'all at least think alike. They don't want to give us nothing, but they know darn well them Supreme Court justices sound a lot in their eyes, I guess, because that's what they say. That everybody who says we got rights from the Constitution, you're tharintithitins, right? They can't say it with a straight face. They got to have a lisp and everything. Tharintithithin. Let me see your cost number. Oh my gosh, man. Y'all got to forgive me. I'm terrible. But I want you guys to see what's happening. So we are getting massive victory in this nation, guys, and God is getting the glory. And I'm going to tell you, because I've seen this happen in other movements. I think that this Mickey Klein, bonds for the not so much win and all this stuff. I really believe that all it is. And for the people who are sent in here for them, you can tell them that I'm here saying this. Um, I believe that either they're really loose and just saying stuff that has no lawful bearing in a lot of situations, or mixing it together, a lot of fake stuff with a lot of real stuff. Like, for instance, guys, this bond for the win stuff. I want y'all to go back to the original bond for the win thing, find that first case they were telling everybody they won, where they got the people to do what they said, and then go back and see if they followed through, if the bond stuff really happened, or if they got threatened and backed down. I want you to look at that. I want you to find who the free collected a bond, money from a bond out of any of them. Find three situations. You're gonna find it don't exist. So a lot of people get you hyped up with the talk about money, but if you look at it, there's a guy who was doing ethics complaints, which they say attacks bonds, or messes with people's insurance, and he got arrested. And I heard that he's like a decent guy, but he got arrested. Just because you're smart, guys, and you know that you can do something, or you think you can, or you have some of the pieces to the puzzle, doesn't mean that it's smart. Because what happens is when you do stuff that you have not educated the people, and you're the only smart person, you just get arrested. That's all that's gonna happen, right? If you have holes in your stuff, you're gonna get arrested. If you're doing it out of greed, you're gonna get arrested, right? So you got to be wise. You can't be using dumb stuff. 5,000 page documents, dumb. Ain't nobody gonna read it, y'all. People ain't got time to be sitting up there reading it. Just because you write something that's 5,000 pages like an attorney because you think it's important, don't mean that other people got the time or care to read your dang book. Stop making stuff personal. Stop trying to show people how smart you are. Use what's written in the law. Let the law be smart, right? Let God be wise. Use what your forefathers said and what God said, and call it the day, right? All this extra stuff to try to make you look like you can speak like an attorney or a scholar, that junk is garbage, and it didn't win for decades, right? People before me would tell me they were in the law for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. 50 years in the law. And I'll say, so what changed for you? Well, not really anything. They still didn't listen to me. I just got older. I'm like, what? Like, you're fighting this fight and you're not thinking outside of the box so you could do something different? You're not fighting so that you can do something that will win and make sense, right? Something is wrong if you're fighting a fight and you're okay with nothing happening. In nothing that you do in this world. Look, if you got a wife or a husband and you want to be good to them and you want to make them happy, right? Try to do things that's going to make them happy. Try to do what they like. Try to build them up. Try to do something that's going to make something good happen. And if you see a history of people doing things that made them mad that didn't work, sometimes it's good, to get outside of the box. Maybe go up to them and say, well, what do you really like? Right? See, if you want to be powerful in life, you don't give people what you want them to have. You give them what they need based on what they want. Right? Now, if somebody wants evil, you just walk away. But if somebody wants good, right? Let me just give y'all a practical application today. Can I just speak to y'all like a real dude today? I'm gonna just give guys one and girls one. So, guys, if you want to give your girl flowers because you think that women like flowers, right? But you got a wife that says, I really don't like those flowers, you know, but really, I wanted to save up for a hydroponic system so that I could just make uh, good veggies for the family and really feel like I'm producing for us. And that would just make me feel like I'm accomplished. And you know what I really wanted? I was reading in Proverbs and I saw where the woman in Proverbs bought land, right? And planted stuff, right? If she tells you that, right? But you want to get her flowers because that's what you see her friends do, but she don't care about the dang flower. It might be wise if you want to please her and help her to be the best that she could be to help her reach her goal. So you might want to slow down and listen and say, okay, so you want a hydroponic system first, and you want me to get you some land. Okay. And then you might want to do a side little business or a job to get your wife a piece of land and that hydroponic system. Now, you might not realize this, but see, God is very good at putting it in women to multiply what it is that you give them. Right? Now, a lot of people won't understand this, but I'm just gonna give y'all some real game. Right? If you give your wife one little seed, she's gonna plant and fruit gonna come forth. Right? If you get your wife, if she wants a piece of land to plant stuff, she's going to plant, she's going to sweat, she's going to get up early, she's going to water, and she's going to produce. And she's going to want to see her family have good stuff. When she sees that they're poisoning food and all this stuff and families are getting sick, in her mind, she's thinking about blessing her family and being like the Proverbs 31 woman. And in return for you giving her that and helping her to be what she wants to be, what's going to happen is she's going to flip things and turn things around so that you're going to have things produced in your house where you have comfort. So when you say, what we need from the store, she's going to say, well, we already got enough vegetables. I got enough for salad for you. I got this, I got that. I got stuff from the garden. You're good. And it's going to save you money. And you're going to realize how powerful you guys are as a team. So while you're out busting your butt and working hard, she's building a vineyard for you. She's taking care of the family. And she feels better about herself because she could produce in the way that she wants. Now, if you would have just gave her a couple of uh, roses, right? She would have put the roses in a vase, looked at it for a couple of days, and the junk would have died, right? Smell good to women for a little while. Some women say that junk stinks. I don't know, right? And then that's all she would have, what you wanted her to have, and it would do nothing for you guys. But if you help her by building the ability for her to get the land and follow her dream, she's going to produce for the family and things are going to go way better. You're going to realize, oh my gosh, I got a team. I do my part of the stuff and I build her up to do what she wants to do and I slow down to listen. Now, I ain't trying to be funny, guys, but if you do that, I promise you, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you're a married man, your sex life gonna even be better, right? Your wife is going to like you more. She's going to have time for you more. She's going to think about you more because you're spending your time to help build her up to become great. Women, same thing for your men. There's a lot of stuff in the world today where people have taught women that you don't need a man and you could do it all by yourself and all that stuff. I think when you get a little bit older as a woman, you start to realize that people may have poisoned you a little bit about the value of a man. See, when you get a man that cares for you, that loves you like Christ loves the church, when you help him to be what he needs to be, see, even with Adam and Eve in the garden, God saw Adam and saw that he was alone, and that wasn't good for him. So God made a help meet for him. See, there's certain things that men that we have in us that are not balanced. And so we are the way that we are. We do the things that we do, but it's something about when you have a woman that's good, it changes everything in you. So if you have a man and you look at him, and rather than doing what the world says and saying a man has no value, I can do without him, if you start saying, look, we need you in the house, we need you, we thank you for the stuff you're doing, and you start building him up and telling him, hey, look, you know what, you can do that business you were trying to do, you can make the money you were trying to make, you can make it through the hard times at work, you can get out there and build your body even in age and work out and do the things that you've always wanted to do. You can make it back from depression, you can make it back from a hard time, you can make it back from loss, you can make it back from pain. See, women, you have a power, and I'm just going to be real with y'all. Jackie sent me messages before, Violet, Cece, Denise, Jill sends me scriptures. And I'll tell you, even when I'm in my biggest fights where I know I could die, right? Y'all see people want to kill me, right? But with them talking in my ear, and I've never seen some of them before, it gives me such strength and power to be able to stand that I'm willing to take a whole clip of bullets, right? If they got a 50-round drum, I'm willing to take it all. I don't even care. Because the power that a woman can speak into men, y'all got a way of nurturing. Y'all got a way of power that comes out of your tongue. And it can be both ways. If you want to cut a man, there's some stuff that you can say that'll tear a man anus up in a heartbeat. But if you want to build, some of you are responsible for helping me to be built. Diane too, right? Some of y'all are responsible for building me. I'm just going to be real. I'm not a one-man show. I'm not just that guy that can just do everything because he's a Superman. I got God, but I'm going to just be real, y'all. God gave me many of you to balance me, many of you to speak good words into me. And I'm thankful for it. And I realize if women, if you do that for your husband, you do that for your sons, we've lost a bit of that power in our nation because they removed us away from talking about God and politics and religion and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, some of you ladies are so powerful. Even Charity, when Charity used to just do our thing to start up the spaces, it was just cool because her words, right? The power in her words when she started up a space was mighty, right? But you notice the people that we have around us, we ain't got to have everybody, guys. The people that we have around us are some strong, faithful, bad mama jammas, right? And see, when you are a real fighter, like my dad used to say, I'm gonna just tell y'all the word my dad used to say: if you got kids in the room, cover their ears. I don't curse, but cover their ears, right? My dad used to tell me, give a nigga his props. Give a nigga his props. Now, nigga is a term of endearment for us chocolate brothers. So don't get mad at me for saying nigga. I got to be real around y'all. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ. But yes, I've said nigga since I was a little boy. Didn't know no better. And just took it as a term of endearment, right? But my dad says, give a nigga his props. That means give a person, no matter what their color is, their due respect and honor for what they can do, right? See, you get around people and you got a lot of people that's jealous and hate to see somebody better than them. I know. I can pick everybody on this dang space that I've talked to, and I can tell you where they're better than me, right? I can tell you where you're better than me. And I'm not sad about that. That's a good thing. It's good to have people who are better than you in all different areas around. So the Bible talks about how there's safety in many counselors. I got some bad mamma jammas around me. And if I want to get something done with some internet techie stuff, y'all not gonna be letting me be dumb, right? If I need to get some grammar stuff out, y'all not gonna let a document go out that grammar look like Cookie Monster wrote it, right? So There's nothing bad about having smart people and powerful people and people that God has gifted around you. So, guys, I'm all for doing good things with good people who want to do the right thing. What I'm not for is being around people who are playing a game who really ain't trying to win, it seems, and just doing dumb junk. I ain't down for that. I don't like to call people dumb, but some of the stuff people do at times is just straight up dumb. You know it don't work. And guys, I've seen too many agents in the middle of the movement, too many people who just do the opposite of what should be done and seem like they're tearing up Remedy to play this game, right? I don't care how many people love me. I don't care about how many people think I'm cool or smart or anything like that. I come here to play ball. And when I'm talking about playing ball, I'm saying I'm coming here to win against bad actors that's trying to destroy this nation. And that's what I'm going to do, right? But when I see people faking Remedy, right? When people just making up stuff and saying it's the law and it's not, and you can't show me nowhere, that's bull. That's bull. And so I've seen this thing with this Mickey Klein and this Steele lady, and Ann Vandersteel is pushing what they do, but guys, it just ain't legit. And so I noticed, and it's funny, the woman who was the witch from years ago, who were connected to the witches, um, she came on my page she started talking stupid because Violet made a statement about how come Dave Jose's stuff, whose work this is, isn't being used. And then the lady said several people tried to reach out to Dave and he didn't respond. And it's funny because this is the lady who's connected to the witch, who everywhere she went, people were dying, right? So she says this, and she said, well, Dave has known me for 6 years. And why hasn't he did this or that, like with these other people and stuff? And I'm like, hold on. First of all, when I met you, you were a radio or news personality, right? Elegant woman, extravagant looking woman, pretty smile, older lady. So she has like professional demeanor and such. She never did a single video for kids fighting over CPS, but she used to call me and say stuff like, Dave, I feel so bad for you. I know you're hurting so bad, aren't you? And I'm like, what the freak is this projection? Like, you trying to hypnotize me or something? No, I'm not broken. I'm a freaking beast. That's what the freak I am. Right? And she would try to get me caught in my emotions. Then she tried to connect me with two people who were witches, right? One who said, Dave, you need to get this stone and, this white stone, and you need to do this with your name, and you need to just all this witch stuff. I'm like, man, get the freak out of here, dude. What the freak I look like? Right? And y'all got to forgive me, but y'all know who I am. I don't play that junk, right? Don't be coming at me, witch junk trying to groom me, right? Then she sends me a picture of this other dude she was with who had a Mason shirt on. I'm like, why is it that everybody you with Masons and witches? Right? So I see her trying to play. And one thing that you'll find out, guys, is witches love blood. They love sacrifice, right? Look at this pictures of this lady. I can't remember what her name is, Bronovich or something like that, McBronovich or something. All the music people like her, and they roll around with these pentagrams, and they do this spirit cooking garbage where they're sitting in a bathtub full of blood and playing with each other and doing this nasty satanic garbage, right? Now, guys, Satan might give some people wealth. I don't give a freak. I don't want your satanic wealth. I don't want your satanic money. I don't want your satanic love. I want Jesus. That's what I want. I want Jesus, right? I want God. I want peace. And anything I get financially or in life or something that I enjoy, I want it to come from God, because when he gives a gift, there's no evil that comes with it. No darkness. It's just great. He gonna get it on the time that he give you, right? You're gonna get it on the time that he gives it to you. But when you get it, it's going to be great, right? So I'm cool with waiting on God, even for my little guys, right? I understand I got to fight to fight. I got to wait on God. But what I do understand is that God let me see in the Bible that when he fights a fight for people and he teaches you the law and he raises you up to do the stuff in the law, you got to make the law return to justice and truth. And so that means teach everybody else and bring the law to them. And when you do that, he says, he'll return people who are in jail. He'll establish the nation back the right way, and things will get better. Things will get good again. He'll make the crooked way straight. That means you just got to wait on God, and he's going to do it, right? He's going to do it. There is no doubt. This is how I can tell y'all without a doubt when I see this stuff happening and he teaches you how to use wisdom and he lets you see it work. He starts building you where you can see the response before it happens. See, God's power, his faith, his might gives you insight. It takes you to that next level, and that's why I realized that for some of my first people that I taught, first couple of hundred, first couple of thousand, I started teaching them the Bible so they could understand the faith of God, not fearing and not falling to being weak and having lack of courage because of what you see physically. It's not about what you see, it's about what you know through what God said, that which is written, right? See, people try to destroy you by saying the Constitution isn't being used as it used to. Well, dummy, if you're telling me it used to be used in a right way, then I know that it can happen again. All I got to do is duplicate what happened before it happened the first time. That's insight, right? I walk by faith, that which is written, not by sight, that which you can physically see. If you look at your circumstances in the physical world, you will never do anything great. If you look and say, I don't have enough money in the bank, I don't have enough strength yet, I don't have the right car yet, I don't have the right opportunity yet, then you won't live with the purpose and with massive action to get yourself where you need to be. Guys, I don't think God is a fake God that can't help you in every part of your life. I've seen stuff wrong with my body, cortisol issues, body falling apart. I got to tell you, I was 252 pounds today. Y'all remember I told you I was trying to get back to 230, 240, and I was struggling? I've been working out, guys. I've been taking the right stuff from Yeshaya Herbals. I've healed my neuropathy, my diabetes, all that stuff. I'm doing very well. I'm getting stronger. I was 252 freaking pounds today. Way more muscle, way more strength. I worked out for a whole hour straight the other day. Barely got tired at the end. I was on my push-up set and I had to stop for a little bit to catch a breath. And then I started again. So I'm telling you guys, everything in your life that you struggle through can be fixed. Everything, everything, everything. There's wisdom that has been lost that we are not using, right? Some of y'all that fell on hard times with work and business and COVID stuff. You can make it back to being whatever the freak you want to be. I don't give a freak how old you are. You're still capable. You're still mighty and powerful. So I was talking to Violet and I realized I stopped doing that because I used the strength part and the faith part of the Bible to build up my first people to be a monster when it comes to really tearing down things that are wrong. And then people started tearing down things that were wrong. They did very well. They kicked butt. And I had a big group of fighters who now have that faith, but I have lacked. I have failed in giving people stuff to build them up every day and encourage you, because I'm going to tell you, 99 times in a day, you'll hear something negative. You'll probably hear one good positive thing. So we haven't been making sure that we're all fed. So I told Violet, I said, you know what? I'm going to start, and I told somebody else too. I can't remember who else I told, but I'm going to start doing audios or videos on my Telegram channels and just speak life into people in the morning. Just, leave a message for them where they can be empowered and built up, because a lot of us are trying to do great things. And a lot of us are doing great things, but there are some places that you want to go that you don't know if you want to go. It might be business, it might be marriage, it might be health, it might be strength, right? It might be neuropathy, it might be heart issues, right? A lot of us want to go places and we need courage and we need stuff of real substance to build us, to get us where we need to be, right? We need that. And so I got to do better in engaging more with that, because that's part of what God blessed me to be able to do for a long time. I think that's why we have so many wins, because when you're around good people who can fight and who are strong, who will listen to the truth, and they will empower themselves by taking it in and understanding what God said and understand what the possible is, right? And they just start taking massive action to just do something. What ends up happening is it's contagious, and it multiplies the fruit that comes out in your life. See, when you're around people who go after stuff, it's hard not to go after stuff, right? It's hard to just sit there and feel sorry for yourself. And if you know somebody else been through struggles and they're like, man, I don't give a freak about that, I'm gonna destroy. Give me something to tear up, right? Give me some watermelon to eat. I'm just slaying. Give me some pork chops and collard greens. No, if you got something you're really trying to fight and you trying to get better and you trying to do better, if you're around other people who don't give a freak about excuses and they go after what everything they got, that makes you powerful. But if you fake remedy, you fake law, you go halfway, you talk a lot of junk, but you ain't ready to bring that junk ain't real and it ain't gonna work. And this is what has happened, guys, over decades. We've had people who are ineffective at law who couldn't win. And then when God brought me in and we started winning like crazy, they started saying stuff. They started trying to pull like authority card on me. Dave, I've been doing this for 35 years. What makes you think you could do anything without me telling you could do it? What about the freaking fact I'm doing it? What about that? Right? And don't say you've been doing something for 35 years if it don't work. That ain't doing it. That's just hanging around. You got a freaking club. You got a club underachieving and you bragging about the time you clubbing, right? That ain't real. So, guys, we are winning around the nation, and we got these groups popping up that are trying to, I think, they're trying to mix up the message by saying everybody unite. They engulf the whole thing, and then they try to take it over and run it into the dirt. That's what Clements did. There's others who did the same thing. And guys, we can't allow it to happen, and we can't play with them. And look, they're gonna say stuff like, "David, you won't unite." I'm like, "Heck yeah, you're right. Not with y'all. I ain't uniting with bull. You can't make me famous enough. I don't give a freak about how many shows you got and how powerful you are and whose name gonna be on the stage. I don't want to go nowhere with Mike Lindell. I don't want to go nowhere. I ain't even trying to go to Trump's house, right? I ain't trying to go nowhere with no big name and look good in front of people. If anything, if I'm doing anything with anybody important, you could just save me a crate in the back of the corner. You could sit at a good desk. I sit at a freaking crate and just give you wisdom, right? My gift will make room for me, right? But I ain't got to look cool. I ain't got to fit in. I ain't got to drive the car they drive. I don't need none of that. I like winning, right? And so I just wanted y'all to know I'm not playing this junk with this. Everybody, let's assimilate into other groups. No, if another group is doing work, I'm gonna give them praise and say they're doing work. But I'm not assimilating into everything else where somebody controls the remedy or what I say, or I sit on the stage and they get their. Y'all want to hear what's funny? This lady approached me. She said, "Dave, you could come in under us, and we got our notice writer. His name is Ron." And she told me his last name. I said, "Oh, the guy who took my memberships not too long ago to try to learn how to do notices for me. Yeah, I could sit under you guys and watch him do it." They did a space the other day. Ron was in there as a speaker, and I talked to Ron, and Ron told me that he started doing notices, and then they started taking them and just doing whatever they wanted to do and adding their own stuff and taking away stuff to make it theirs. I'm like, so you just came and got my remedy, and then you went to them and you let these Negroes take stuff and turn it into foolishness and control it? Don't sound like that'll work with me. That's not going to fit with me. No way. You're not going to limit what I do. And guys, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of agents, a lot of attorneys, a lot of witches and bad actors, some of them who rape kids, just telling you how it is, who drink their blood. I'm being for real. These people will act like they don't know each other, act like they're not working together. And when they realize that source of kids about to end, which is about to happen, look, y'all, with Dave Jose, I think it's April 23rd today, April 22nd. Let me see. It is. I can't see my what's name. Pilsner,
April
what's day?
April 23rd.
It is April freaking 23rd. David Jose not only told y'all they were gonna have to return people from January 6th, and y'all see it's happening now. This ain't the third, fourth, or fifth time I told y'all it was gonna happen before it happened. But let me tell y'all, they're about to have to return the kids around the nation. They're going to have to give all the kids back they stole through CPS. If your grandma's still alive and they stole her, they're going to have to give her back. If they took your houses, cars, dogs, everything, they're about to have to give everything back. And our notice, guys, is out. It's almost done. We're going to be putting that out over the next couple of days with the job form. We're adding some good fire to it. But, guys, I'm going to tell y'all, everything is flipping. They're about to have to give these kids back. Now, everybody gonna forget about me when it happens, right? I'm gonna be long gone. I'm gonna be the negrito back in the shadows. Y'all go forget about me. And I'm like, what happened to that dude Dave? Oh, I don't know. We don't give a freak, right? But the negrito Davito is gonna be back in the shade, incognito, doing my own thing by God if the Lord lets me live. But I'm telling y'all, they're gonna return the kids, let people out of jail, and be running. They're going to be trying to hide for all the wrong they did. I'm telling y'all the truth. This is what's going to happen. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and we'll just see. Y'all save this. Somebody clip this junk because we started at 5:15. I just said it. So however long we're into this, it's 6:13. So we've been in for almost an hour. You can go back and clip this and say this Negro Dave said kids are going to come back home. Now I'm telling y'all, the attorneys are mad across the nation. Notice that the attorneys coming to fight us are CPS guys, family court guys, uh, government officials who probably would have made legislation to get these people to take kids. They're happily here, guys, happily here, and they're here to slow down progress by telling you the rights that you see written don't belong to you. How many of you guys can see that? How many of you guys can see that there's attorneys on spaces that are literally telling you you don't have the right to do that? Even okay, maybe it says that, but it doesn't mean it like that. It really doesn't mean you could tell us what to do. It really doesn't mean you could tell your legislative servants to be servants. That would be preposterous, right? Guys, you got attorneys who ain't never tried to teach you the law or help you coming to you talking to you about this jump. You gotta know these Negroes are concerned in the mother. That the law that you're teaching ain't the law, even though it's in the law. I like the other law better.
That's just your interpretation, Dave.
Yeah, you're just interpreting the plain English of the law to be the plain English of the law. What?
It's not that simple either. It's not that simple.
Yeah, dude. That look, a simple way. You need to stop with your simple way of thinking, telling people that thinking should be simple. What? Homie, is this a freaking joker? Are you for serious?
And your rights just don't work. You got to apply for them, and we get to tell you if it works or not.
Yeah, you need to go to a judge who got a bar card, who's not acting as a bar card member right now. He just fakes like he ain't got the bar card. And then he's going to tell you if your right could be a right. We need to wait for his guidance. I'm like, I have never seen in the Constitution where it says the judge is here to give guidance.
Then we tell them governments are trusts, and then they say, "I've read the Constitution. I didn't see the word trust in there."
Oh my gosh. Did Federal Farmer, the most brilliant genius that works with Trump's people ever,
That was
say,
nasty. That
did
was a
this,
nasty thread.
did this dude say, I don't see, I read the Constitution. I don't see anywhere where it says trust. See, this is what happens, guys. Guys think they're so smart and so powerful. And then they start getting to the point where they act like dictators and just gonna tell you without even thinking, without even looking, and say, you accept what I say. Now, I see why Trump can't get standing. I see why Trump can't get justice because the smartest attorney I've ever seen in my life was probably Federal Farmer. Smartest. Not the most wise, but the smartest, definitely. Smartest dude I've ever seen. I'm gonna be nice. He called me a bad actor. I would call him a smart, dumb guy, but I don't want to do that. Dude straight up said, there is nowhere in the Constitution that said trust. And then I think Benji and Chris showed him like 3 places. I'm like, dang, a 25-year-old and a farmer. You got your anus kicked by a 25-year-old and a farmer. Gosh darn it, Benji must have big testosterone, man.
He's been doing law longer than Benji's been alive, and he got his anus handed to him.
Dude, I think he's been doing law like 10 years longer than Benji been alive. And this Negro tried to say trust ain't in the word Constitution. I mean, in the Constitution. I said, gosh, dang it. And see, he should know. You don't play games with people like Chris, right? If Chris asks you a question, he know about 5 answers to the freaking question before he asks you. And this is the thing. If your dumb ain't his answer, your ain't is gonna lose in front of everybody. And this dude, with his cocky, right? Because he really let the truth come out. You're a bad actor, Dave. You're gonna get people harmed. Okay, well, did you solve the case for your guy? Did you solve cases for Trump? Is Trump still getting wrung through the mud? Do you have any remedy that can help people in mass in the nation? Nothing. See, for this whole time, they've been playing because people gave them the benefit of the doubt. But the nation, they can say the nation is wrong based on the law. Everything is backwards. Well, why the freak ain't you telling everybody and sounding an alarm? Because you're fake. You're fake. I didn't think that at first because I heard good things about the dude. But then when I look at it and I say, well, why don't you get with Trump and teach people the law? Well, I do cases one at a time. You're a coward. You're weak as heck and a coward. You're letting the nation be taken. When you got 1 million gallons of knowledge in your brain, right? Because he got 1 million pounds and 1 million gallons of knowledge. The dude don't use it. It's a hoax. If you know everything about the common law and you pronounce it Lord Cook and I pronounce it Lord Coke, so you think you're extra brilliant and smart, but you don't teach nobody and you don't use it, you're a freaking clown. Yes, Chris, attorney guy, I'm talking about you. You're a clown. And you're going to hear this. I know y'all listening. Clown. Straight up clown. You call me a bad actor, but you won't save your country. You'll stay involved with those other attorneys and you'll speak to the judge about how it pleases the court. And you'll let the judge say stupid stuff like case law and won't correct him. You'll try to correct me. It's Lord Cook. It's not Lord Cook. Okay, dude. You still suck because you won't teach the people and you ain't helping the people get wins. See, a lot of people think it's cool to just, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Bow down before me because I know some words. I know how to pronounce a word, but I don't use it. Right? That's like saying, I know how to stand in a karate stance, but I don't fight with it.
Remember that? Hey, remember that part in Coming to America when he's up there on the stage and he's singing, and the guy goes, "Oh, that boy's good. He's real good." And he goes, "Good, terrible." Good, terrible.
Man, I'm telling you, it's like you see these guys praise each other and pat each other on the back, and they want to talk about how smart they are and what they've done for so many years and all this stuff. And then the most simple things in the Bible that God says do that make you win, they don't do it. And then when they try to correct you with the Bible, they're like, David, the Bible never says that people had the power to pick their government. I'm like, Israel. Didn't they pick a king? No, that was their neighbors that they got the idea from getting a king from. Does that mean they picked it? Didn't God allow them to pick the king even though he didn't want them to? Didn't he let them have a king? And then God picked them? So they picked their own form of government, right? They didn't have a king at first. And then they saw other people with kings and they said, we want a king like them. And then God did it. But same gentleman, you know, this is the thing. You know what I realized, y'all? I realized you can't let ignorant people who think they're smart be the judge of your remedy and what God gives you. Because as soon as you let somebody take over plain English remedy with their intelligence that never worked for them, right? They might have won a few cases for themselves here or there, but ain't none of these people got any remedy with helping people to win in mass in the nation. None of them. God has given that to us, right? And it ain't about just us having it. I think God has chosen a particular people that love him, that will give him the glory, right? Everything out of Jaren's mouth is Jesus, give God the glory, make all your thoughts captive to Christ. Everything. right? Real people, Pilsner, talking about the Holy Spirit and the indwelling and wanting that to be the biggest thing that leads his life. Real people, Clint, baptized in the Church of Christ. Jackie, baptized in the Church of Christ. Summer, baptized in the Church of Christ. Denise, baptized in the Church of Christ, right? Person after person after person who loves God, who stands on what God says. Violet, baptized in the Church of Christ. Her mama was in the Church of Christ, right? Person after person after person. Diamandre, baptized in the Church of Christ, right? Person after person after person, loving Christ and giving God the glory, right? I don't think it's by mistake that we freaking winning like this. We got some powerful people who fear God. Period. Period. And that's why I think God gives us victory, because we trust in him. And we ain't got no doubt. We going around talking mad junk. We correcting attorneys, dropping freaking fire and smoke, people having arguments with their eyes closed, raking attorneys through the coals. The attorneys ain't showing a dang fact. Y'all notice the attorneys ain't got a single bit of historical law to match anything we say any day of the week. Not one thing. The attorneys can't do it. The other law groups, they start talking stupid junk. We say, come live, cometh live right now and get us some of this smoke. We start turning to Shakespeare on that anus. They don't want none of it. They're like, I would come on, but I gotta bake the couch. What? Chicken? I gotta put the chicken to bed and bake the couch. Oh, okay, cuz. Right? Freaking running, right? Spazzing out, fake names, fake accounts, can't have a discussion. Don't want you to hear their voice because you'll know who they are.
AstroTurf and everything up.
Hey, yeah, man. Just crazy out here while God is giving us all the way. So y'all tell me what y'all think about. We're going to give out some mics. Y'all can pass out some mics. What y'all think about what's going on in this law world? People infiltrating all this freaking bull. Guys, I'm stressing a little bit because I can't get my engine going because I don't have the right size intake gaskets. But we can start opening up the mic. Summer, Angry Pop, Jackie, Pilsner, Clint, Celestial up in this mud. Jared, what you doing? Jared hiding. Jared must be in kid Bible study time right now. I think it's around the time that they slow down to have their daily devotion. So Jared can't talk with his brand new self.
Well, I'll jump in just real quick. I think I listened to this space last night. I needed something in the background, and I was on the tractor and I was doing dirt work, and I put my headphones on. I'm like, yeah, I'll go in this thing. And it wasn't about 5 minutes in to that space. And Ann Vandersteel was on there. She had a bunch of people in there. And it wasn't 5 minutes in there, and I was laughing out loud, and my sons were helping me do some of this stuff, and they're looking at me funny why I'm laughing on the tractor. Like, what's so funny? I'm like, nothing, just keep working. I just nothing. I mean, we heard from guys who brought in. It was like a whole smorgasbord of old weird stuff. Guys talking about birth certificates. Then it was that somebody talked about that for 5 minutes. Then it was it's a corporation. We got to get out of the corporation. It's just
Get out of the How the heck you get trapped in a corporation? A corporation is a fiction. How you get your physical body inside of a piece of paper?
It was hard not to jump in, but I had my hands full at the time, and I'm like, I'm just going to let it play. But then it was then not even 10 minutes after that, and everybody gave praise to the person who said, the stuff about the corporation. Then 10 minutes later, then I think it might have been the Ron guy saying, hey, we're making notices. I'm like, this guy kind of sounds like what he's doing. Was working, like doing notices, using the law, talking about how the everybody swore an oath to the Constitution. I'm like, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Now, bro, let me tell you real quick. So the other people in that group say that there's no such thing of an oath and they don't have one.
Oh, my.
So here's the one thing. So some people talking about learn from us. They got an oath, hold them to it. The other people say they don't have no oath. They don't have no responsibility. They're just treasonous in deceits, and there's nothing we can do because they don't have an oath. I'm like, dude, if you're going to let a person off the hook, hold on, Clint, is that not a donut in your, that's not a chocolate donut in your picture. That's a tractor tire.
That's a tractor.
How many inches is that tractor wheel?
Oh, that's the front tire. That's a little guy.
How big is the back one?
38s.
Dang!
That's the rim size.
Y'all making Negro jealous, man. Y'all rolling around no freaking 38. Is it chrome?
No, it's not chrome. It's rusting now.
It got some spinners on it.
No spinners. Hopefully, my lug nuts aren't going to be spinning either.
So it ain't like those. It ain't like those Texas dudes with the big old tall wheels with the freaking little things coming off looking like chariot things.
No,
Hey, they got
none of that stuff.
the chariot shin buster.
It was something else, man. So somebody said, "Oh, we got to get out of the corporation," and then right after that, somebody's saying we got to take back our power. I'm like, okay, which is it? You know, how can you have like 5 different ideas and everybody's praising these ideas at the same time? I'm like, you guys are going nowhere fast. So I don't know. I think I was listening to that for about over an hour. But yeah, it's just we got a good thing going on. So yeah, there's probably going to be some people trying to steer you wrong, or at least get you pushed into some other stuff that isn't going to work. And be careful. So that's all I got.
Yeah, the junk suck. Who else coming up next? Thank you for that, Big Clint from the fourth flow.
Yeah, hi Dave.
Hey.
Am I skipping a turn? I don't want to skip in line.
No, you jump in and talk. We just having a convo tonight.
All right. Well, yes, I can vouch for everything that you're saying about, like, say, federal farmer. He's supposed to know the law. He's supposed to be someone who's super, able and capable and knowledgeable. But you see, they never use their knowledge to help the people. I just heard so many excuses from him and so many misquotings, and like he's showing off pretty much his intelligence by using Latin on us, like, oh, I can say, and then he pronounces the Latin word. And like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? We're here to the people. We're trying to let the people know that we really don't need attorneys. We have the power. We have the authority. And you're teaching us exactly where to find it, how to use it, how to exert our power and correct everything and get everything back that was taken unlawfully. And so they don't want to focus on those things. And like federal farmer, he used all sorts of tactics to evade really focusing on the issues, just giving no evidence for what he was saying. Nothing at all. Just and then he admitted in his writing that that the system is wrong. There's something seriously wrong with the system, but he's still in it. He's still making money, knowing that the system he's using is really not set up correctly. It is not taking the people through constitutional due process of law. They're putting them in the wrong jurisdiction and taking their things. And you know what? People are being destroyed. It's so sad. They don't think about the other people as long as in their lives, they're doing fine. But what about the other ones that they're destroying? He has no mercy for them, no compassion. It didn't seem that way to me. And I wanted to say that because, what you're doing is full of love. It's full of compassion for everyone. You don't just work on yourself, on your things. You help all of us learn, and you're doing it so we help all America. And you know what? When America is in the right path, and it will be, the rest of the nations, they're going to see they don't have to suffer either. And that's mighty. I wanted to say, I love you.
You too, Queen. You're a beast. That's a good word, though, because we're not going to get the victory we need until we all come together and fight together and help each other with the issues we have that's not our own issue. When the government see us all coming together, not all like everybody in the world, but just the people who care to do us right and be diligent. When they see us coming together, they realize, man, I can't just do what I used to do, because they really realize what's happening, and it's a lot of them, and they're not playing, and they're teaching other people. You can't just, it's not cool and fun to just do wrong to people anymore for government. They realize it's out in the open, and we the people can think, and we're not playing games, right? And the Supreme Court is following us. So where they used to get away with doing wrong, that junk just not happening no more. It ain't happening. Big Pilsner, holla at your boy.
Hey, Dave. Yeah, I just want to make an observation about the kind of what Clint, I wanted to touch on what Clint was talking about, the state nationals and the bonds for the win and all the different types of, things that, where they talk a little bit about the truth and the constitutions, but then they go off on some crazy tangent. And then they're usually almost, I think in almost every case, it's a selfish act, right? It's just for yourself. And here's how you change your status only, and you're not going to help the state or your county or whatever, uh, you know, turn things around, let alone at the Supreme Court level, like you're doing. So there's okay, so there's several camps, and then there's the agents that tie them all together to kind of create a problem for us. There's the attorneys, like federal farmer, and he's just trained that way, right? And he's going to be going like all attorneys. If they're not bad actors, they're just trained to be bad actors. Like, and then you've got the conservative legislatures. You've got your Kerry Lakes, who are having it. They're now in this. Can see the system and go, you know what? I really like the money I can make here. I really don't want to listen to any of this stuff. Those are everybody except for, well, Leah Cushman and a few others, right? And then you've got, like I said, the state nationals, the bond for the win people, and the whatever's left over from the sovereign citizen types that haven't figured out that that's not what you do or whatever. And you take all of those people working together, you bring them to in a group maybe, and yeah, you stir it up with, if you're an agent, and then you just destroy something that looks like what we're doing and what you've taught us to do. And it's so insidious. I mean, it's as clear as day to me that that's what's going on. And it's Clements. He's the prototype, right? He's probably going to just say, "Here, okay, I figured out how to do this." And so, it is going to take us listening to God. It's the Holy Spirit working through us, and bringing us together. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be actively trying to figure out how to foil that plan, but I do believe it's going to take the power of God to actually do it. And it'll be obvious that it's him that wins this thing, and it happens. And definitely there are warriors that are doing it. And you are the one that first stepped up and listened to God. And I really appreciate you telling the rest of us. And you could have the secret. You could have just solved your own problem and then on your own way. And that's what they're teaching. I've heard a lot of these spaces over the last couple of weeks. I don't join them. I listen anonymously because I don't want to be associated with it. But I posted up in the top kind of an AI rendering of their philosophy. And, you got to use a blue pen and you got to have a stamp and we got to write across it at 45 degrees and you're lost at sea and you got to reclaim. There's like all of these things when you could just say, "Hey, I'm one of the people in the 50 states."
Yep.
It's so simple.
Yep.
I'll land it there.
Well, I'm so thankful, man, that God allowed me to be able to suffer, to be able to learn and go through what I did to get me to the point I'm at, because I can see that is helping the people, and I realized quickly that you're not going to be great at doing what you need to do and successful if you only want the victory for yourself. And I had to stop and think like, man, if I just got the victory by myself, if I did, which would be very hard because I got a strong personality and I'm a brother from the ghetto, so I don't fit the picture of somebody who should win that much. But if you want national victory and you want things to be great, you don't want to just be the guy who got his kid back when everybody else don't get their kid back. You don't want to be the guy who wins at everything if everybody else don't win, because the pain I feel over my little guys, you guys would feel over your little guys. If somebody forced your little guys to get a shot and it killed your kids, you know how mad I'll be, right? So if God would have gave me my little guys back, I would have never fought against the vaccine mandate. I never would have had a student that was in the vaccine mandate case in Texas that would have put an affidavit in there. None of that stuff would have happened if I wasn't around to be able to do it. All those businesses and jobs saved and people who worked in the UAW and in the airplane industry and in the other groups, it would have never happened if I didn't suffer. I needed that, right? And God needed to use it to bring forth justice and victory, right? And God brought me a whole new realm of study and teaching. I'm useful with the law, right? If you say, "Hey, Dave, can you help us play some basketball right now?" I'm like, yeah, I might not be running up and down the court like I used to. But dang it, if you want to tear somebody anus up with the law, I'm down. Let's get that action in, right? I'm ready to go at all times. And so I'm thankful to God because sometimes He'll give you exactly what He knows will turn you into a fighter to get you going to help everybody else. But if you don't have anything happen to you, a lot of times you won't be invested and you'll never go as hard as you can, you know? So I'm thankful for the suffering. I'm thankful to be able to help others, you know? I'm thankful to be able to see the whole nation flipping, right? I'm thankful for being able to see whole states flip, right? I'm thankful because we're seeing the unthinkable happen. All right, who's next? Go ahead, Summer.
Well, I'm having an emotional moment, I guess. But I really thank God for bringing me to you, because I fought my whole life against like the vaccines before, and always being told there's nothing you can do, just file an exemption and constitution that. But constantly being told there's nothing you can do. I remember when the COVID mask, all that stuff came out. I had talked to lawyers, and oh no, they can do whatever they want. They can go against those rights. They can take them away. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh come on. And that was before I got to know you. But me to you. And I'd been searching forever on the answer. And, it was funny because I thought I was just getting the constitutional answer, but I was getting, God in there too. And, I used to live every day in fear that they'd come knocking on my door. And now I just don't fear anything. God has given me a spirit of just, I don't know, fearlessness. He's got it, whatever happens. And, one thing I've come to learn too is that, my whole life I hated people who lied to me, or I should just say I hate liars or, lies in general. But um, just seeing how these lawyers have been acting, just when you talk to them or even on X here, it's crazy because they'll say, oh, the Constitution doesn't say that. You can go pull up the provisions, throw it in their face. And then the next thing it's like, it's there, you see it. But then it turns into, well, it's not that way anymore. Or it's, well, but it's not a trust, or, but it's not a this. So you keep throwing all the provisions that show them it's so, and they're like, well, it's not a contract. I mean, they just like keep trying to find something to wiggle out, and they're just backing themselves into a corner looking dumb. I mean, that's the best way to put it,
Mhm.
And now it's like, I can't even stand talking to lawyers. Anytime one starts talking to me, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
But I just wanted to share that. God's been really good. Husband just lost his job, and 10 years ago I would have been freaking out, and he and I, God just brought us closer, and gave us faith, stronger than it was before. Showed us the provisions. People have provided, donated to help us out, get through our rough patch. And I'm
You
just like,
need
wow,
anything else?
not right
If you
now.
do, don't lie.
He
If you
did
do,
get
don't
him.
lie to me. I throw a karate kick and like give you. I give you a nick.
Well, I know, like, I was able to pay all my bills. I don't know where I'm going to be on groceries in like 2 weeks. It all depends on, because my husband just got his job, so he'll be
2
working,
weeks in
but
a
he
hole.
said it might
You
take
ever
3.
heard of that
Yeah.
idea?
He said,
Say less. You know how that
huh?
it'd be like say less, like
Say
I
less.
got you. Send us your
Yeah.
cash app in the group so we can pitch in for food.
Okay.
I know you've taken care of us
All
and
right.
been there for us and shown us great example of courage and fight and fire. You're a blessed Awesome super sister. You know you're one of my favorite, and I favor you. Don't tell nobody though.
Yeah. I you just done told people. Wait a minute, what? No. Yeah, and it really was like, oh no, because I had just had a bunch of notices that I had gotten done to take Voss out, or well, for his impeachment, and I have a whole bunch of notices I have to serve. But I was like, oh no, right at the wrong time. But it's okay, it's good, and I'm at the point now where things are starting to come back, and I just want to get out there and fight more again. Get in front of the legislators. I keep getting phone calls from, the ones who are ready to campaign. And, every time they call, we have 45-minute conversations about everything that's wrong and how we can fix it.
Nice.
So,
Like, yeah, you
I
want my
had
donation? Yeah, I got something for you.
well, somebody was calling me from the state national party or whatever and I'm like, oh no, I'm not donating any money. And they kept trying to drop it down a little bit more. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I said, well, we can fix everything without having to vote. Did you know that? And they're like, well, yeah, but how? I said, do you know you can alter, reform, and abolish? And he's like, well, I've heard of that, and so then he started talking to me and I'm like, what state are you in? He's like, Texas. So then we started talking for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
I was like, all you got to do is send notices, and they're like, wow, I really am interested in this. Let me take your number down. So it's like, okay, cool. But, yeah, I just, like you said, I want to get back out there and get it. I'm hoping Voss comes to Racine again so that I don't have to travel far. And, do some more public speaking with that guy. But, well, I found out some stuff about him. So I'm kind of like, Well, I found out that they're trying, he's basically allowing the mapping to, the redistricting mapping to go through. So he had a little bit more space, but he's at the point where he basically told someone who's a district over from me, we'll just go through with the mapping. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty much done for. He literally is like, I'm pretty much done for. Like they're coming after me. And so we're going to put you in the assembly seat. So they're already talking, and I'm hearing stuff. I heard Rantham's running again. So that'll be interesting. And I've told him, because he asked me my opinion, he wanted to run for the U.S. Senate. I said, no, you should stay with Wisconsin. And if you get in, you will have to put our notices on the public record. Will you do that? And he's like, yeah. So I said, well, I'm going to hold you to it if you do.
Like you want to sign and swear beforehand, cuz?
Yeah, because he knows way more than he knew before. So it's like, come on. But anyway, yeah. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's good fire. That's good smoke. Make sure to put your Cash App in the group though, so we can hook you up with some grub money.
Okay.
Sitting on fofos. Cool. Well, good talking to you, dear Summer. She's one of our best fighters, guys. One of the most prolific speakers that you'll see when it comes to engaging government officials head to head, real time. She's a freaking monster. Don't let the light voice fool you. That girl bring the freaking smoke and make people shake and their knees quake. I'm just being real. Big Angry Pop, what's up?
Hey, Brother David. How y'all doing this evening?
Good. How you living, dear sir? How's the family?
My wife's tumors are half the size they were after the final analysis on the test, so that's a good thing.
Woohoo! God is good.
God is good, and I can't complain about that. And some of you folks don't know it, but I had my experiences with the child court system way back in 1990, and I fought for my constitutional rights to have a jury trial that they did not want to provide, and I did win and got a good constitutional court set up, court of record, and they still sealed the record underneath the child court jurisdiction. But that's okay. I was acquitted in a trial before a jury, but I didn't know near what I know now after having met Brother David, I started following him just before the 2020 election, and became a subscriber. The I guess it was the 11th of November that year, shortly after the election, because what the man was speaking then made a whole lot of sense to me, having gone through that battle in my life and having many other battles that I had gone through, fighting in under the color of law and without having the knowledge that I was actually fighting something that was non-existent. So, for many years, I helped people fight cases and arguments with the courts over their Constitution not being observed. And I didn't know any of the common law or any facsimile of it because I was too busy concentrating on how to destroy the statutes with statutory rulings. And it confounds you. It causes you to get caught up in reading hours upon hours of court cases trying to decipher how to break apart the unlawfulness of what they were doing in the courts. And after I met Brother David, he taught me this little thing about the maxims of law. And then he had the audacity to say something about the two treatises of government by John Locke. And then having read, as much history as I have, I associated that with John Jay, our first justice, who was tasked with creating American jurisprudence. And things started coming together so quickly for me, based on everything that I had already studied, and realized, well, my goodness, now I see what they've been doing, and they replaced historical archival law with a thing called precedent. And instead of the common law, they converted precedent into the common usages to hide the fact that they weren't acting under the common law when it came to we the people. So, and that's primarily where my concentration has been on. And interestingly enough, I was in a space with a college professor who taught law. And I spent a few hours in a conversation with the gentleman. He was very knowledgeable on both the Bible and the law. And he could not refute the arguments that I put forward. And in fact, he reinforced it whenever I started cross-referencing Bible with the law. And he agreed wholeheartedly that that is the deception in the law. So, I think I made a lot of headway. I was very tolerant to some of the things that he was putting forward in that conversation, and allowed him to finish his debate. And then I came back and crossed his debate with my own, and he could not refute a single thing that I had stated. And what I'd stated is exactly what Brother David has taught us, and I thank God every day for bringing Brother David into my life. And he's been a little busy lately, and I haven't had the time to have any long conversations with him with regards to spiritual matters, but that's okay because I know God's got him on a mission that it sets precedence over a conversation. So, you know, and I do have people that's asking me to get you
Spiritual
to
stuff
come
is
into some spaces and speak. And I explain to them that you're very busy and that if you do have the time to pop into some of these spaces to help them gain some understanding, that I will say something to you. And if you find the time to join us, I'll send you an invite over whenever those spaces are running.
Hey, let me say this real quick. Spiritual stuff is the most important. So you want to talk God and the gospel, you hit me up. Even on Telegram tonight, we'll chop it up. But wait, so is there other spaces? You're saying there's other spaces where somebody asked about me popping up in the spaces?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Like,
sir. There are because I do mention you in every space that I enter, and explain to them. I mean, I appreciate people speaking highly of me over what and I try to tell them, look, guys, this is not me. This is all God and Brother David who gave me this information. So I can't take credit for any of this. It's just what I do, and I guess I've got a knack for breaking it down in layman's terms so that uh, other people can understand it better. And so I use what God gave me and to spread the good word and to keep people interested in conversations on the law and on God always. I mean, whether y'all like it or not, way back in the 1970s, people started this saying about we don't talk about religion and politics in our house.
yeah,
Well,
crazy.
that was the most deceptive message ever sent out to the American people, in my opinion, because without God and without the law in our hearts, uh, our nation's already lost. So, I mean, you can't take the foundation out from under something and expect it to stand. And so, whenever I pointed out to that law professor the foundation of American jurisprudence established at the founding of this nation, based upon the common law and the American jurisprudence as written out, it requires a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles to
Amen.
uphold the blessings of good government and our liberties, and that says a lot, and that's American maxim. That says it is a fact of law that is indisputable in the law. So getting an attorney to wrap his head around that is a real hard thing to do because, like he stated, whenever he took constitutional law in law school, they never once read the Constitution. And he's a
Wow.
college professor. He said they
Wow.
do not read the Constitution whenever they study constitutional law. So think about that, guys. And my conversation started out with him, with basically after he announced that he was a constitutional law attorney,
Wow.
and that's when I spoke up and said, "Well, that's an oxymoron." And I proved to him that he had no knowledge of the Constitution. So, how could he possibly be a constitutional attorney if he didn't read the Constitution in his studies about the constitutional law?
It's crazy. The Constitution is the fundamental law. How the freak do you not have knowledge of the fundamental law when lawyer means a man learned in the law? How the freak can you not know the fundamental law and call yourself a lawyer? That's crazy to me.
Well, because they practice legalese, brother. They don't practice the law.
When they're practicing procedures they set up, code they set up, and different things like that, statute, they're not
Right.
they're not using the law. They're not like when Jesus says they take away the key of knowledge, those who enter in they're hindering and they're not going in themselves. They're literally not going into the law. They're saying, well, you can't even get into the courts that belong to you unless you meet our procedure. I'm like, dude, there's nowhere in the Constitution that I got to go by your dumb procedure. So they're like, well, this is the system we have. You got to use it. I'm like, no, I'll bypass you and just change the system. How do you like that?
Let's see that, and that's what I showed him, that the Constitution, the fundamental principles of law, existed before the Bar Association ever was born.
Hmm.
And I showed him uh, historic evidence that the language of the court, legalese, was created to separate the court from the Constitution and the common law.
Hmm.
And I gave him the references to look at, and he thanked me for that because he had never seen it before. And the man is in his 70s.
I
Wow.
was listening to that space just to chime in here, and I loved it. I loved it, and the thing he also said was that he was first generation American, and I think there was something to that. If he hadn't been, it would have been very difficult for him to have listened to you at all, because I think he had a heart for freedom to even bother with like tossing out his degree, kind of, what he thought he had learned, and actually listen to what you said. That's my take on it.
Well, I thought it was a good conversation, and it went well, and people in the space enjoyed it and gained a lot of knowledge. I felt like, anyway, even when the host started snoring.
Yeah, I've got, if anybody wants that space, I've got a link to it. I'll post it here.
So deep. Well, thank you for that, Angry Pop. It's always good hearing from you. If you got something you want to discuss on the gospel of Christ, get with me even tonight. I'll talk. When it comes to other spaces, I'm careful with other spaces because when I first came to Twitter, got back on and I started talking on spaces, it ended up that a lot of people on the spaces started asking me to come speak on spaces. And then the space holders a lot of times would get mad and say, like, well, if you let Dave talk on spaces, the people start asking him questions and then he takes over the space. It's like, no, I don't want to take over your spaces. Your people ask me questions. You ask me to come. I'm answering the questions and they end up enjoying that they're getting their questions answered. So they keep asking questions and they don't let me stop. And so some of the people who were space holders were getting mad or jealous, like literally pissed about me coming on spaces. So I can't remember who it was that told me, Dave, you should just start doing your own spaces so you don't interfere with anybody else's stuff and there's no drama. So that's when I started doing my own spaces. And then we still got some of the people who are so-called patriots who their whole idea of life is not to produce something on their own, but their idea is to challenge me to see if they can show that what I do can't work, and that somehow makes them powerful because they're the fighter. They won't fight against the people who are oppressing them. They want to fight against me and show me how brilliant they are. And so it's like a chest puffing match where they want to put their chest up against mine and see how tough they are. And so I try to be careful of what spaces I go on to. And for the ones who say, Dave, you got to prove to me your stuff works, I'm like, yeah, screw what you talking about. I ain't got to prove to you nothing. I got thousands of people who say what I do. I'm not here to prove to you who don't believe in anything and you ain't doing nothing what I do. Prove to me you do something and that we're on the same page, then maybe we can come talk and you can test me if you're a bad boy, right? But I'm not wasting my time trying to prove to people that the law says what the freak it says, or that we win when the people are saying we win, right? And I'm just gonna be real with you. I'm gonna just tell you how simple it is. These attorneys who come try to fight us, the people in the law world who use every word they hear us say, right? You'll hear them listen to this space. If you hear them speak tomorrow, they're going to be repeating what the freak we say, right? I mean, I heard this one woman talking about, yeah, our Constitution's trust indenture, this, that. Y'all know dang well where the freak she got that from. But then she's talking about bonds and all this stuff that don't work. That junk is a hoax, right? I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just being real. It is what it is. You're faking. They're watching what we say bit by bit and spitting it out, trying to put it in a mixture of things with stuff that doesn't work, right? Now, y'all know I love Daniel Wood. His partner was Joseph, who turned out to be kind of like a sucker, right? But I told them, dude, y'all could use the law, hold the cases away from the judges as you reform the law. And then they're like, no, we got to go to court and do something immediately. I'm like, oh, okay. God told me to. I'm like, all right. God told you to do something without wisdom and strategy. Okay, well, do your thing. But let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to end up having cases sitting in the court in Arizona, and they're going to ignore your case every day because they're part of the criminal actions. And all you're going to do is give updates on your cases. Now, I love Daniel Wood, but he ended up being in a situation where all he could do is give updates on his cases. Now, he felt like God wanted him to do it. He felt like they were going to be able to tell the military to do stuff. I told them the military don't know the law. The military don't study the law. You can't get in contact with the military. Their upper guys are the ones who tell them what the freak to do. So if your remedy is based on you getting the military to do whatever you want them to do and you ain't got no access to them, you live in a lie. Stop. See, when we told y'all we could teach government officials, and some of y'all know you first met me, I said, listen, we'll teach government officials in flip states and have government officials teaching the law. And people laughed at me. Can y'all be honest real quick? If you witnessed and heard me say that out in the beginning, yeah, y'all teach the law to the government. Y'all tell them what to do. Y'all lead them. Y'all change the nation. Didn't I tell y'all that? Right? Now, right now, today, don't y'all got politicians that's in the government that say exactly what the freak we say? Right? In the Supreme Court, in the state legislature, in the East Coast, I let y'all pick the state, and then I showed y'all us run roughshod over foolish people who don't want to teach the law, and y'all see government officials straight up teaching the law and talking to y'all face to face. Some of them call y'all on the dang phone, right? When other people say, government won't listen, it's impossible. They're all traitors. There's nothing you can do. It's over. You got sold on a ship to another land. Some dumb job, right? Y'all out there living a totally different life. And I told y'all what happened. So nobody can say it's not real, right? They can say we don't like it, right? But that junk is freaking real. It's happening every day, right? Some of y'all literally talk to government every day in the midst of us.
Well, that's the reason why whenever I'm talking in spaces, I remind them that their legislators may not be as corrupt as it appears to be.
That's
They're
right.
just ignorance because they went to the same schools we all did that
Yep.
didn't teach them these things. So they are just ignorant, and that is where we come in to change that ignorance and educate them. And that's
Amen.
our job as the trust protectors to do our part because that's self governance, folks. If we ain't willing to stand up and govern ourselves, how can we allow somebody else to govern us? That ain't the way
Yep.
it's supposed to be.
That's
So
right.
we got to remember they were educated at the same schools. Don't be so harsh on them and so quick to call them corrupt. They're just confused on what the real law is. And educating them, I have found out, has them where they do reach out to you and they do call on you. And I've got people calls me from at least 6 different states right now that are legislators that are asking how to combat the other people within their legislation. So the conversation is happening, people. Have faith. This is God's plan. We're just doing our little parts. That's all.
Amen. Amen. That's real stuff. And we appreciate you, Angry Pop, for getting out there and teaching those legislators and doing that good work. You know, we're literally living a life that people told us we can't live. So I'm proud. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going that people tell us it can't happen, it's not real, and all that stuff. But we live a totally different life, and it's an experience that's unbelievable. Um, Angry Pop, the lady who helped us with the T-shirts, the young lady, she's in her lower 20s. She said, "Thank you for the excellent advice." She just sent me a message, and she's saying that people are picking up the T-shirts, and 3 new people got T-shirts today. So I'm gonna just tell y'all, shameless plug. We do have our "We the People Restore the Republic" T-shirts. People ask me to get something for the movement that people can wear and show off, their cause and what it is that they're about as a conversation piece. And I think it was an excellent idea you guys came up with. So we do have T-shirts and Telegram for
I
anybody
want
who
2
wants
of them.
to.
I
Oh,
want
that's
2
not.
of them.
Yeah, so we got a link in Telegram. Jackie wore hers today. I need to share the picture on Twitter. It was super cool. But she wore hers to school today. She was wearing it with her fly jeans. You got some style, Jackie. I see your jeans. I'm like, man, her jeans is fly as heck.
Yeah,
She got some style.
Yeah, my husband got those for me for Christmas.
But we gonna go ahead and take Jackie next. Go ahead, Jackie.
So yeah, I just want to let you know I wore that shirt today.
Is she muted?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear her, Dave, but maybe you can't hear her.
They're getting me again. Can you hear me, Clint?
I can hear you and Jackie just fine.
Oh wow. Okay, Jackie, go out and come back in because they kicked your sound off, so me and you can't hear each other. So go out and come back in. I'm gonna let you right back up to the mic.
Okay.
Some people claim that if you hit the mute button and count to 4 or 5 or something, and then unmute, then that resets the room. I don't know if that works or not, but
let me try.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Jackie.
Okay, try again, Jackie.
Can you hear me now, Dave?
Nope, nothing for me. If I hang up, if I get off the space, I think it's going to make me not hear.
Okay, let me I'll bounce.
I mean, it's going to kill the whole space. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's going to drop down and come back. That usually fixes it. Okay, so the mute thing doesn't work.
Yeah, that John sucked.
Hey, I didn't know if it worked or not. I just heard it.
But it was worth a try.
Yeah.
Can you see her anywhere? There you go. That sounds like her. Go ahead, Jackie. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So I just want to let you know that awesome shirt I wore to school today. My group of students that I have come in that want to learn about rights and all that kind of stuff, they were like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" I go, "Pretty cool, huh?" And so I'm like, "All right, so if you guys want the shirt, this is what it is." And I'm probably making like a little order here soon for my students to have this shirt at school, which will be really interesting since I work in a public school and you can't really, I'm just a rebel at school. I am.
Wow.
So, like I put my students now put scripture on the board.
Wow.
Yeah. In the morning. It's phenomenal. It's just called my morning crew. And they come in the morning. Hey, Counselor, what's up? Sometimes they'll have prayer. And they'll I said, "Oh, the board's yours." And they'll just put up there what they want. And I just let them do it. And you know what? No one says anything. No administrator,
so cool.
no nothing. I have other teachers come in and go, "How are you getting away with that?" And I said, "Get away with what?" I said, "That's truth. When truth is spoken, it remains."
Yep. They did it. I'm just chilling.
No, I'm just chilling. I'm just back here chilling that they're doing this. So, hey, I just wanted to, first of all, say thanks and God bless to everybody. So, I mean, it's just this journey has been amazing, both for constitutional law, but I will tell you more importantly, spiritual growth. That's where all of this is led, and I am just praising the Lord every day. And I've been sharing with you, Dave, on the side, I learned this today and I got this today. It's just so different. Oh, it's amazing. So I wanted to share that. But I also wanted to encourage people to remember the young people when you're teaching about rights and how to claim them, because I work at a high school. I have been teaching for 22 years and I taught government for 17 years. And I will tell you what, if I could go back to every single one of those students I taught government to and apologize and reteach, I would. Because we didn't teach it right. And I apologize. I mean, it's tough going back realizing that how us as teachers were taught to teach students sucks. It's not right. And so, now I'm going to the social studies teachers that I've taught with, and I'm like, guys, we're doing it all wrong. This is wrong. This is not how government should be taught. The kids are not learning what their rights are. They're not learning what the Constitution is. And I haven't said, have you even taught the Indiana Constitution yet? Because that's where we live, is Indiana. Do they know the Indiana Constitution? Are you teaching that to them? And they're like, no, it's not in the state standards. I'm like, yes, so.
Wow, that's so deep.
It's
I bet it's in the state constitution, though.
Yeah.
I bet it's a requirement in the education part of the Constitution, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it's not being taught. So I just want to encourage all of you, like when you see these young people on the street, they're not like these college students that they're showing on mainstream media, you know, with all the protests and that kind of stuff. These kids are hungry for truth and they want to know. And it's shockingly wonderful how much they want to know. And what is so fun is you can just relate it back to the Word of God. Like, that's what I'm learning. I am learning as a 60-year-old grandma to relate this stuff as a teacher back to the Word of God. And even though I don't have it all memorized yet, I pretty much know I can either find it in Deuteronomy or Isaiah 55, or, you know, I know that I can kind of go find it. And if I can't find it, I know that I can go to people and say, hey, where's this at? And help me out. And so I just want to encourage that. I know what my foxhole is. You know, you guys are doing, like, a lot of people on here are doing like the really big stuff, you know, with the Supreme Court and major representatives. Like, I am working with one local one, though. That's kind of fun. And commissioners and that kind of thing. But, you know, my foxhole is the youth. And I just want to encourage you guys, don't forget the youth, because those are the ones that are going to replace us. We're all in the, well, I am anyway. I'm a boomer. Jaron always makes fun of boomers, but he does it in a very loving way. But I'm a boomer. So,
does boomer mean you like to play loud music?
No, I don't like to play loud music. I'm just, no, but I am definitely a boomer. I was born in 60, so kind of set in our ways. You know, you just get complacent a little bit, thinking everything's going to be all hunky-dory rosy. You know, one of those trust people, overly trust people, because that's kind of what boomers do.
So
But
deep.
but anyway, that's the part that I just wanted to put out there, is just to be really encouraging for our young people, and, you know, our my own children, you know, just, they were taught wrong. My own children, which are in their late 30s, were taught wrong, and for them to be reprogrammed, paradigm shift, is hard. It is really hard. But those are the ones that we need to teach. Those are the ones that we need to disciple and nurture. I just kind of want to put out there. I know other people got their hands up, but I just thank you guys. You know, Jill Jones, Sandy Zane. I mean, all of these people are just so wonderful, giving, gracious. Appreciate it. I appreciate people being patient with me with my questions when I ask the questions. That's what I love about this group. You can come ask any question you want and never feel stupid.
Hey, we all get to learn together and see some fire stuff, and there's so much wisdom out there, you know. It's like, but that's the thing. If you got a will to learn and love to learn, you could become powerful and mighty and just do amazing things. So, you know, it's a blessing to be around each other and with people who want to see the truth, you know.
I know. One last thing, when you said that people wanting to learn, there's a while ago, you know, I told my students, I said, you know, when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you're rotten. And I said, tell me what that means. And they just kind of looked at me, and I said, so I want you to think about this. When you're green, you're growing. So when you're always wanting to learn, you're growing. But when you think you know everything, you're rotten to the core. Your fruit is rotten. I said, just remember, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. And that means that you're always willing to learn. You're always willing to take that next step, you know, take the knowledge, and become wise with it. And they have aha moments. And I guess that's kind of what I'm just like telling myself again: stay green.
Amen.
So,
amen. That's right, and that's true. It's so many good things to learn, and so many things we can build on. And it's funny, like at my age, I'm 43. I look and I say, "Shuck," you know. There's so many things I can do, and I'm learning new things and delving into new areas and reading new books. And it's funny, I was at one time in my life where I was like, shucks, I just want to go to church and do business, make money like normal, and be with my family and hang out. And then I started realizing, like, shucks, well, I have to have this fight now. And then I started understanding even more the value of wisdom and knowledge and getting victory in so many different areas. I had to learn new things. And now I'm back to being hungry for knowledge and wisdom. So it's good when God takes you full circle from, well, not full circle, 180 degrees from where you were to the right place, because we can get to the point where we get stupid, like, oh, okay, well, I'm just living and I don't want to study. I don't want to go to school anymore. But in order to have great success, you got to be really willing to dig and get that knowledge. So we thank you for that, Jack. And you can't just get the knowledge, you got to use it. So we're going to take Angie next and then Catherine. Go ahead, Angie.
Hi, y'all. I just I just wanted to thank God for having Jaron open up the path to lead me to you, and thank you for teaching not alone just me and everyone under you. They're wonderful people, and I've learned so much just in the last 4 months, and I'm just a greenie. So, but I'm just amazed at this. It's all so new. I wish I would have learned this in school, but it's allowed me to stand up and speak from what I know. I try not to say things that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been able to get in contact and speak with a local rep at a county level.
In 4 months.
Spend an hour and a half. Yeah, I got an hour and a half of his time. Got a personal phone number and a personal email.
Look at you.
Yeah, so he's I showed him a few things and sent him a few videos like of Thomas Massey, etc. And a few other, I think it was Indiana, that they in some county, Boone, is it Boone, Indiana? Yeah, so I showed that to him and just told him that things are changing and for the better, and that's what I'm here for. So he's been very responsive. So I'm still working on it.
Good work. So, that's fire. See, that's the thing. See, it goes to show when you're around people who attack things that are wrong and you take massive action. When you're around people who know that you can speak with government and teach them and build them, and you don't just believe that lie that they'll never listen to you and you're not capable and all this bull, you come and you're here for 4 months and you're doing the unthinkable in America. That's fire. That's huge.
Well, what I told him is that, and I said, I see how you vote on things, and I said, you're on the right path, but I said you'd be fire if you just put that Bill of Rights in front of your face and study that and look at that before anything happens, before you decided yes or no on anything. Because he gave me some information on the inside as far as like how things kind of roll, and there's probably not some good people that are around that really don't care, and they're just in there to do their thing, and and just roll with it, and they don't ask questions, they don't think of anything. And I did call one out. They had I shouldn't say call out, but I spoke up because they were talking about passing a little bill down here, and I stood up and asked them, how many Bill of Rights do we have? And he said, well, wait a minute, you want to talk about rights? What about police or this? And I said, no, don't ignore me. Answer my question. How many bills of rights do the people have? And he stood there dumbfounded.
Wow.
And then he looks at he looks at his partner, which is another rep, and they look at each other. They don't know how to answer me. And there's like 30 people in the building, and there's a local journalist there that videos it. So, so I got them all on video. Just showing in front of people that, look, these people don't know what the bills of rights are for the people. And I said, well, I'm concerned. Their answer was, I don't know how many. And I said, well, 31 plus more. So, and I said, well, my concern is that you guys swore an oath to protect our rights and to redress our grievances, and you don't even know what our rights are. And they were like, oh my gosh. So so the rep that I met with at a later time, a few weeks down the road, we were discussing, and he says, "Yeah, I saw that on that video."
Ooh, are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said, "I
When
saw that."
when powerful people see that you know the law and that you put people on blast and you're not afraid to speak with truth and wisdom, they catch it when you're speaking. That's heavy. The other person saw it go after the other people.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. So and it's I don't like going to those events. I don't like doing going down to the city
Angie,
hall or anything
hold
like
on one
that. I
second,
don't
Angie.
want
I just want to let you know,
to.
conservative and my girl, you're going to be next. I saw you were up and you fell down, and I was planning to get you in, so you were actually in line. So you'll be next, and then it'll be Catherine. But go ahead, Angie. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Um, so, anywho, I've learned a lot, and I'm able to speak more intelligently to some reps, and I'm trying to reach out and work with some at the state level. So I'm slowly working my way with them. One of them, anyway. Um, so what got me was when I saw that space the other night, like Pilsner watched or listened in on, as well as I. Or no, maybe it wasn't Pilsner. I think it was Clint.
Mhm.
So I got the same kind of idea as Clint did, and what concerned me is I'm like the the video that Van and I'm not calling out anybody. I'm just the video that um, Vandersteel had at Denver, the state capital, Colorado. They all march in the state capitol with this pile of paperwork, and they're videoing it like it's a newscast.
Mm-hmm.
And they go up to the Colorado state rep and hand them these papers and tell them what they are. And he's like, "Sure, okay." And he responds in a way. There's a video on her page about this, and it said he says, "Well, that's your constitutional right, correct?" So it just seemed like it was to me um, like played out.
Yeah.
Like it didn't come naturally. They just didn't go in there, knock on his door, and say, "Here you go." They like called him ahead of time. They probably had communications with him, put everything on camera because he was so happy to receive them and said, "Ah, that's your constitutional right. I'd be more than happy to take those." So
Yeah, I mean, something just
I'm
seems
like,
highly strange right now
Yeah,
with
that,
the way
that
that
doesn't
he's.
really happen.
no,
That's funny, Edge, that you said that
no,
because that's not the way they react when you show up with notices. Let me tell you.
They say it was like
no,
it was like a
no.
Carrie Lake phone call. I mean, a recording with the guy who bribed her. Hello, guy. How are you doing today? Yeah. Are you really trying to bribe me? Tell them to get behind me. You know that I follow Trump. I'm America first. We always talk about me being America first. I'm for the people. You couldn't bribe me, but tell them to join me and get behind me. I mean, no, no, no. I mean, you know, I can't take a bribe. Kick rocks. I love you. Yeah, okay. That junk sounds so orchestrated. I was like, man, it sounds like y'all had this in plan for a long time. And think she was
Yeah, and
taping him, right?
that's what
This is
I
what you
thought.
gotta ask. If she forgot to expose the dude, who the freak just tapes their other guy who's in politics that you endorse? Why would you expect something bad was gonna happen? How did you know to freaking tape? How did you know he was gonna try to bribe you?
Is this how politicians
Yeah.
collect on their retirement plan? They plan one of these things. Is that how it works? It seems like
Well,
how,
Annabella came out on one of our spaces and said that she knew last year she was told by somebody that at this time this year, Kerry Lake was going to be leaving. The guy was going to be leaving his spot, his seat already. And you think about it, it's like, and then the guy, if I think the guy told Kerry she needs to be out of politics for 2 years. Well, shucks, it's been 2 years. Guess who's back? Kind of deep.
Mm-mm-mm.
I mean, I'm just saying, I ain't saying she did nothing wrong, but I'm just saying it's been 2 years and you've been like magically not fighting cases that's fighting cases. Like, don't use anything that anybody gives you. Any good lawyer, any attorney, even the suck lawyers that tell you the truth, you don't take it. You got standing for me, and then you didn't continue in wisdom. You just stopped. So it's like, are you trying not to win? I don't know, but if I was trying not to win, I would do exactly what you do. Just saying, you know. Can't say for sure, but you know. All right, we're gonna take conservative Michigan.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. How you living?
Hey, I'm living day by day.
How is it down there? I mean, up there. I'm sorry.
Up there. Well, chilly and rainy.
Oh.
My name's Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
so wanted to give that out first and foremost. So first time on talking on Spaces, so I definitely appreciate the time. I've seen that you've had lawyers on here and police officers or ex-police officers, but I haven't seen any current commissioners. I just want to say hello. And I talked to several servants at the local level, state level, and even at the federal level. And I don't talk to them like they're above me.
Mm-hmm.
And now back in 2020, if you would have asked me if I'd be sitting here today, I would have told you were nuts. But I'm here and I'm learning. I've met Clint on Zoom. So, hey, Clint. And a couple other friends are here, Diane and Craig with We the People Notices. So we assemble every night, and I have learned a lot from you, from Jaron. And I want to say that I've learned so much that I've walked away from a lot, and I'm learning how to get myself out of a job. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys, and I'm definitely more excited about learning what I should have learned in high school that they didn't teach, and I'm just so glad that you guys are here.
Well, shucks, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for taking action and being a fighter and absorbing knowledge and wisdom. You know, you don't have to do the blessing that you do. What part of Michigan you from?
Oh, I'm a troll, so I'm in the lower peninsula, just under Traverse City. So about, I don't know, maybe about 2 hours from the bridge.
2 hours. I've been to Traverse City before. I went on the lake, and I used to get like I used to go like chill up there or whatever, and chill in the hotels, eat good food, and there was one spa looking place. I can't remember what it was called. It was so long ago. But it was right across from the water.
Okay.
I can't remember. But I used to play football for Central Michigan.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. Don't say that's right.
I'm teasing.
Did you go to
No.
Yuck.
So my education level was just a few years of community college. So I'm self-taught on most of my things, and I am surrounded by hordes and hordes and hordes of books of everything and papers. So I'm more excited now learning as an adult than I was a kid.
Well, at least you didn't go to Western Michigan, so you're good.
Well, I didn't go to anything in Michigan, and believe it or not, I do root for Ohio State football, and that's the only college I root for.
Not good, but Michigan is so good.
Well, it depends on who you ask. And
did Ohio State have a problem with Michigan this year?
a little bit. So I think they'll have a good year this year, and that's due to my stepdad. So he's no longer with us. He passed in 2014. So I just keep his spirit alive with that. But other than that, 2 years ago, like I said, I didn't see myself running for a position, and let alone getting it, but I did, and learned a lot. Also, went into the party pretty hard and heavy, actually. Made it all the way up to a state committee woman position. And then another friend of ours in the group, Andrew Preen, met him at one of our local meetings and heard what he had to say, that, basically we're, in layman's terms, we're all stupid. We don't read the Constitution. We don't need to be doing what we're doing. And I looked at him, thought to myself, who's this fool telling me I don't know what I'm doing? So kind of just got busy and just, doing the commissioner thing the best I could, talking with, the people I live around and in my neighborhoods, and heard about Jaron Jackson. So I checked him out for a little bit and got involved with, his teachings and, what he's doing with the Patriot stuff. And things just started making, connecting the dots and making more sense to me. Met up with, got introduced to the We the People notices, Craig, Diane, Dave, and Diane and Barbie. Jumped in a few Zooms and just things started making sense, like left and right. It's like boom. It was like mic drops all over the place. And so much so that there was a lot of, fighting within the, Michigan party. And, it took me a little bit, but it's like I walked away from all of it, local level, district level, and state level. I'm done. I can't associate myself with, that anymore. So, but even so, learning how to get the, board of supervisors back, I did put my papers in to run again for, a commissioner seat, and I will work, super hard from the inside, if that's how you want to say it, to get the board of supervisors back, from the inside. So that's what I meant by learning how to get myself out of a job. But I've also talked, like I said, with, several of the servants at, all levels, state and federal. And I tell them straight up that, you're not following your oath. This is going against our rights. I had the group, Dave and them help me write our congressman a notice on the FISA vote. And yeah, they didn't go anywhere. So we're working on that. So yeah.
And you don't have to choose your own congressman or one. You could choose anyone. Like I like Thomas Massey and Jim Jordan just because
I
they
love Thomas
understand.
Massey.
Yeah, I just use them. I don't waste my time with clowns.
No, I know. And I walked around and I helped my personal or my district's congressman, campaign. And so I kind of felt like I had that personal connection with them. And, I even received a phone call from him before they did something. He didn't want me caught off guard. And, I told him at that point, I say, you guys need to, stay out of it. You're making a mistake. But so, but I do follow Thomas Massey. I've actually talked with Thomas Massey on his food bills that he's trying to go through, and I do see that he's growing. So yeah, absolutely.
It's super fire what he's doing, and the thing is that we got government officials across the country learning now. And people thought that'll never happen and we'll never see this day, and no government officials will listen to us. And I just laugh because I'm like, shucks, we live every day in a totally different realm, a totally different level of functioning than most people, because we believe that we can take what the law said as it is written and apply it. And so we get totally different results. We live a totally different life. We have fun,
Oh
in
yeah.
the law stuff, whatever. When you can make a change, it starts to get fun,
Yeah. But I will, full transparency, I am a biblical disaster, so I'm learning there, and it just everything that I was learning and hearing, it was all God. And I kept saying, why am I able to see this and other people aren't? Why, so it's like there's no more coincidence. It has to be God. It has to be him.
Yep.
Because again, I am a biblical disaster. But
Well, there's no way to get what we got if it's not for
right.
God. And some people don't want to accept what God is doing, but it just is what it is. Like God tells us what we need to do to bring forth a certain result, and we have had the same result over and over and over and over again in the thousands, right? So, God proving God's word works. And I told the people who are big names who said to me, Dave, if you don't study under us, that God stuff ain't gonna help you. You'll never make it. I said, man, screw what you talking about. I'm going with God, and we'll see. Right? I'm gonna fight alone, and we can see what's up. And watch when that action comes through, you gonna understand exactly where it came from. But I'm definitely not turning on God, so you can freaking tell me what don't work. That's stupid.
Well, and I've been in the what don't work, but what I have the hardest time with is those that have said and go to church and say they follow by the Bible. How can they not see this? I've lost friends.
Church. Not everybody that goes to a church is part of the church. Not everybody who says they believe in God actually studies. You know, so there's a lot of foolishness that gets taught out there, and they say that it comes from God and it's true and it's real, but it's it's a bunch of bull.
Yeah.
And so we got to be able to look through that, know what the scripture says, and live on what's written.
And these are people that I looked up to, and with me choosing this journey and being led down this journey, I kind of lost them. It's like I have no connection with them anymore. So that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Yeah, but don't be
I
down
appreciate
about it.
the space and the time. I see other speakers' hands are up, so I'll jump in again later.
Yeah, we gonna let Catherine go, then Don, and I'm gonna try to close this space up because I still need to eat some food or whatever, and I need to get some things finished. I actually missed one of the things that I was supposed to do, but I thought it would be good for us to get this out and get to talking about this situation because there are people coming from multiple groups trying to act like they're part of us, teaching stuff that you can't find in the law anywhere. I did have a conversation with one of the people one on one, and they were trying to tell me that we're all slaves and that we're stuck on a ship or off the coast or something, hanging out on a ship. I'm like, man, look, I don't even swim like that. Don't tell me I'm hanging out on the Titanic. That ship and sank. Cut the jump. But they want to tell you that you're in a corporation. I'm like, dude, I'm too fat to be in a corporation. Right? I am too fat to fit in a piece of paper. You'll see my ashy knee hanging out the paper. You'll see something. Look, let's stop. Oh, I'm terrible. Y'all gotta forgive me. All right. So oh, Catherine, go ahead.
Hi, Dave.
Thank you for that, conservative. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yes, Dave.
Can anybody hear Catherine
Can you
talking?
all hear me?
I can hear Catherine.
Okay, great.
Ain't this about a trip? They're doing it again.
Yeah.
All right, Catherine, drop down because I
Okay.
can't hear you,
Okay.
and come back.
Don is requesting.
He wants me to go out.
Huh?
Okay.
When you see, okay, if y'all see Catherine, we got to add her back because the signal is acting. I mean, the Twitter is acting
I'll
stupid.
add her as soon as I see her.
I just added her back, I thought. But now I don't see her.
can you hear me?
Yes,
We can
ma'am.
hear you.
Okay, terrific. I want to tell you, I have had a wild week with all this stuff, but I have learned an awful lot going back and forth with these attorneys. And one thing they keep saying is common law is not written. And I was sitting there, I said, Lord, show me why they say that, because it is. It's in our constitutions. And I think Violet or someone put up a definition, and I saw Blackstone on the thing. And I can't remember, might have been common law or something like that. I said, oh my goodness, that's what it is. Blackstone was not around when our constitutions were written. Is that a true statement?
Well, he's what Blackstone is one of the authors that was here in English law, who was
Yes,
a mind that had thoughts that was like before the experiment done called America. So when it comes to American common law and the way that we look at the law, before we could have a long history of law that we use, that's different because we don't have any kings and such.
yes,
Uh, he wrote a lot of his stuff before that. So because of that, when they look and it says stuff like, yeah, the um, unwritten laws of England and the, whatever, that ain't got nothing to do with the freaking state constitutions that come from the common law. They're exemplary of the common law. It ain't got nothing to do with that. And they don't, like, he didn't experience a government where the people control the government as the sovereigns and we are like kings with no subjects. So a
yes.
lot of the stuff they say, like for instance, when you read in John Locke 2 Treatises of Government, where they say, look, uh, the government is a trust where the people give power over themselves to be subdued by the governor. And it's like, no, that's how they did it over there, right? Over here,
True,
people have all
true.
power and God is the governor.
Yeah, so, well, that's what I kind of figured. And I said, well, you had the king, and whatever he said was considered like divine right. It was law. And
Hmm.
then Parliament would pass statutes based on what he decreed.
Hmm.
So then I said, okay. And I happened to look up Marbury versus Madison. I like John Marshall. And did he spell that thing out? And see, and even the Constitution itself says frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is how we preserve free government. And uh, so um, I said, okay, fundamental principles. And that's common law right there. It's written, and you can't read the Bill of Rights without seeing those maxims over and over and
Yeah,
over
the
again.
bills and declarations of rights are definitely exemplary of the common law, and they just mess up on that.
Yes. And so anyway, another thing, when I speak at school board meetings and the boss meetings locally, and in January, what we had, they ran a smear campaign against one of the conservative, we only had two on there, one of the conservative school board members. And I mean, I know they staged an operative to come in there with guns and stuff like that. It was crazy. And so anyway, the first meeting, I had written them a notice, and several people had signed it, and we'd sent it to them to nullify a meeting where they called an emergency meeting in 24 hours. They cut off all public speaking. They would not let one member that couldn't get back in town represent his people, by Zoom. And so anyway, we wrote a notice and charged them with all that stuff, asked them how did they have the constitutional right to, number one, to call an emergency meeting, number two, cut off public speaking, and not have representation of that other member. And they did it. They actually really, I don't know what you call this. They charged an unnamed person by an unnamed plaintiff to have an investigation. They spent $30,000 of our dollars to do that. So anyway, I wrote them, told them they needed to nullify that meeting. So they didn't do it. So I brought unsigned notices, verbatim, like the ones I've sent, to the new school board members, because they had totally, except for one conservative, taken over the whole board. And I presented those to them. Then I held up the state constitution. I said, this is your express trust indenture. And I said, every word that you speak, and every motion you make, every second you make needs to be in context of this. And as a result, we have not had a lot of vocal speaking from the new members, because I think they got scared when they saw what that thing said. And we also have a very powerful woman with scripture who really lays it on to them. You know, God gives it to her, she speaks it, and sometimes they kind of shudder when they hear it. And so we got a superintendent in there he's a Christian, he's an immigrant, and he's been here a long time and naturalized, and he what I call lives the Constitution, and people really like him. So what are they trying to do? Get rid of him. We had 500 in and out of school suspensions in 1 month for the former superintendent. And 2 kids were carried out on stretchers with concussions, and they had an all-day orgy in a bathroom going on. And so she and I mentioned that at the school board meeting about their liability for that kind of thing. And so anyway, she asked for a Christian who lived in the community and went to church. And I said, and I want one that knows that Constitution that he could answer in public. So we got what we wanted. And now they're trying to get rid of it. In 7 months, he's cut that in school and out of school suspensions in half. And they want to delay his raise for 2 years. The other one retired with a 4,800 student body with a $300,000 salary, second to the one up in Northern Virginia, which was a shame. And so anyway, that's what we've kind of been through. And so it's kind of, I feel like it's cutting my teeth, because I did identify a senator, and I'm like you, Dave. I want one with a God conscience that really cares. You know, my reps don't do that, but this man does. And I was able to get a 15-minute conversation with him that got canceled the first time, and I called back to the intern there, and I said, are you sitting in front of that calendar? He said, yes, I am. He's kind of shaking. And I said, schedule me. I don't care if it's 5 minutes. I want to talk to him. So he said, well, I think I can get you 15 minutes. I said, that's great. And so I met with him at his state, and I used, just like you did, every statement I made, I had something written to show him for proof. And at the end of it, he said, we're talking again. So I said, well, no problem, because your intern or your assistant just scheduled me for an hour. Well, the next thing I know, I get a phone call. They cancel it because I'm not a constituent of his, and they said for me to call them if I wanted to make an appointment. His chief of staff, which I know is an attorney. So anyway, that didn't happen. So what I did, because every time I call, I get an answer phone, and nobody calls me back. So I sent a letter, certified return receipt, nothing. I got sent a notice, and I finally got the receipts back on those 2. The next thing is going to be a hand-delivered affidavit, and they will be back in session on May 13th. And so anyway, I have a group that said they will send notices as well. So I'm hoping something's going to change. He's got a P.O. box. There's really no way to contact him in person. And so I'm kind of frustrated because I know there's a lot of potential there. He got it. He knows the U.S. Constitution backwards and forwards. And then I showed him the Bill of Rights, and he went click click. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's right. And so it's kind of discouraging in a way, but I haven't given up. If anybody has any suggestions, oh Jackie, I got two notices, and by the Virginia Constitution, we were able to prove that they have to teach a Constitution and put the Bible in, and I'll send that to you if you'd like to have it. So that's pretty much what I have to say. Anybody's got some suggestions, I'd appreciate it. But Dave, I love you. I thank you so much. And God is so good. He really is. And I know this country's going to get turned around. And thank you for your tireless 24/7 work. It's been an inspiration. And so anybody in here that's just beginning or whatever, don't give up. What Dave teaches, it's powerful stuff. And I thank all the Christians in here, those who love God, because that's what makes us, I believe, unique, because we want truth and we don't settle for this sovereign citizen death. So anyway, thank all of you. I love all of you.
Hey, yeah, Catherine, this is Jackie. I would love for you to send me any information that you have on that, because I'm not teaching government anymore. I teach American Sign Language, and in American Sign Language, all subjects are covered. So I will get it in there one way or the other. So
good for you.
Yeah, so if you want to, yeah, I get to teach math and English. I get to teach all of it in American Sign Language. So if you want to.
Fantastic. And I love the way you do it. And the kids are bringing the scriptures in. Isn't that powerful?
Yeah, I just posted in the thing some of my kids, a couple of my girls that wrote the scriptures up there. And you can see Jaron Jackson's Death, Burial, Resurrection meme on my board. They got to see that every day, because that's where I post the schedule.
Oh, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you'll send that to me, man, I would I would love that. Any tools to get my hands on, that's great. So,
fantastic. I'll do it.
Appreciate what you do.
Well, I appreciate what everybody's doing, because when I hear your stories, it helps me.
Yep. Amen, sister. Amen.
Hey guys, before Brother David closes the space, if I can get some of you guys to help on this project that I was asked by a disabled person that can't flip pages and things like that, if you guys wouldn't mind making an audio reading of your state constitutions, and let's see if we can get a centralized location for everybody to get an audio book of their state constitutions. It would be a great big help, because we have a lot of disabled people across this country that can't read the Constitution because of handicaps, and it would be a great big help, because a lot of them want to join the fight, but they can't because they're handicapped and can't join the fight because they don't have the information. They listen, they learn, and this is very important. And through my research, I found that the Constitution is one of the few audio books that's not available anywhere at all on anything. Not even the government sites have it available. So I think that it would probably benefit us all if we jump in together and get all 51 constitutions recorded, so that the people can listen to them while they work or whatever, so that thing subliminally gets into their brain and changes their way of thinking. I was going to take on this task by myself before my wife was diagnosed, and I was in discussions, but with her being diagnosed, my concentration has been shifted, and I really could use you guys' help on this. And I really don't care where you want to put it. Y'all want to put it on a space under me, that's fine. You want to put it under a space under Dave, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. It's not about me. It's about getting the word out to those people that has an interest that wants to learn. And, and that's just going to add to the numbers of people that know. If there's an audio book and make it simple for people to understand their state constitutions, that they can pause it, turn it back, listen to it over and over again, let it sink in, that would benefit us all. And so I'll stop there.
Cool, everybody. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to end this space. I got to get some grub in me. Make sure that everybody checks in on Telegram. We could help with Angry Pops project. We got to make sure we get the cash out for summer to make sure we drop some food cash for a family to make it for the next couple of weeks. Y'all know that we have no problem with looking out for each other. So it's only a matter of time before a life happens. You're going to need somebody to pray. You're going to need somebody to hold you up. You're going to need somebody to push you. You're going to need some help. So don't be afraid to be there for the people who also need help. And if it's the Lord's will, tomorrow is Wednesday. We will try to do another space. Y'all let me know what y'all want to talk about.
Dave, can I just say I didn't see Alan ask me to come up to speaker. He couldn't come up until I added him manually. So that was like 30 minutes ago. I added him. He made it up. I know.
Alan, you got something important? Or if somebody else want to take over the space, because I'm starting to shake.
Okay, how about...
So I need to eat some food because it's been since 5:15 for me, and I ate only once today. And I've been working out extra hard, so my body's trembling.
Okay, we don't want that. All right.
Well, it's okay. If somebody else want to take over it, then y'all can take over.
Yeah, just take a break, brother David. If you want to make me a co-host, we can keep it going. I won't be
coming back for the night because I got a lot of other stuff I got to finish, and I haven't been able to get it done.
Okay.
But I don't want to shut down the space on you guys if y'all want to talk.
We'll just when we want to end it, we'll just message you and say, okay, we're done.
And then say it again. Well, I probably won't see the message for a while because I'm supposed to be ripping and running, getting some stuff finished.
Okay.
And I was laying on my back, and the air is cold. And I got my neck propped up. I stood up just a second ago, and my back was like, oh, shucks, right? So, my hamstrings are dead. My back is dead. But I got to finish some super, super, super important things. So if y'all want to keep going or whatever, I'll just mute out, and y'all can take care of biz.
I'd like to do that.
Cool. Well, if everybody else want to stay, everybody vote real quick. Everybody want to stay? What y'all want to do?
I'll stay.
All right. Cool. I'll mute out then, and y'all can handle the mics or whatever.
Make me a co-host, Dave, and then that way I can help add more spaces.
So right now we got co-host as Pilsner, and I made Jackie a co-host earlier. I was trying to speaker. Okay, so who just said that? It was Angry Pop?
Yeah, Angry Pop.
Let me see. All right, Angry Pop, I just made you a co-host, so let me know. All right, I'm muting out.
Get some good food. God bless you, Dave.
All right, now. Catch y'all later.
See you, Dave.
Peace.
Okay, Alan, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make about the comment. I got into the space late, had church on Tuesday nights. But with Chris, the federal farmer, when he was on the space, was a week or so ago with David, and he was talking about Herbert Titus, who is a professor or law teacher at Regency University of Law School in Virginia. And I'd known about Herb Titus, but one of the things I put in the bubble was the fact of one of the books he wrote, or small little mini book, was The Transformation of American Law on page 10, where he was talking about woe unto you lawyers, talking about the scripture, but then the statement he made was that the stakes are too high to leave law only to lawyers, which is pretty interesting. When he was, federal farmer didn't bring that out when we were bringing the fact that we the people are the ones that are all in all political powers inherent in the people, so it's just the fact of that and how the law changed, and he knew it. But it's like David was talking about that we're the ones that are teaching the people and teaching as a group and bringing the broad diffusion of knowledge to the people is through us, we the people, discussing it, and working together where we're peaceably assembling to give the information out to the people to properly educate them. So I just want to just put that out there for right now, and then I'll get back.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Summer, you're up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Pop, I don't mind reading constitutions and making audio if you need me to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like I say, my time is kind of limited these days, running between the doctors and everything, and it just kind of got me off of that project. And it's definitely a project worth doing. In fact, Cole is down here now. He was one person that was asking me about it, and a few more disabled people that I know, and one of them is a niece of mine that's disabled. That she got cerebral palsy and she can't, she doesn't have good motor function, and but she loves to do audiobooks because I said that's the only way she can do them. So, and she was one of the people that couldn't find the Constitution on an audiobook, and I found that to be pretty strange. And then I began to start asking legislators about it, and one legislator in Wisconsin is trying to get a law passed that the state has to provide an audiobook for the disabled up there in his state. So it's, we're working on it, guys. I mean, it's just, as those of you that's been with us for a while, you know how hard it is to make those things happen.
Angry Bob, I helped Thing write that bill into law because we were talking and we couldn't find a audible book, and it is in a committee right now.
Yeah, Shane sent it over to me after he got it drawn up, and I looked over it for him and sent it back to him. And as far as I know, he's got it introduced on the floor. I don't know if they brought it up yet, but they did. They did get it done and introduced to the floor. Go ahead, Summer.
So what we can do, if you want, is we can make a list of like all 50. You said the U.S. Constitution isn't done either, so we could do all 51 constitutions. We could make a list and then check them off as we get them done.
Correct.
And then we could put them into. Well, Pilsner probably has a way to organize them so that we can put them all together.
That's fine, because I was getting ready to volunteer. I was just getting ready to volunteer Pilsner to put them together too, thinking about this. I was saying yes, I would be more than happy to read several of the constitutions, and I thought it'd be really neat to have several of the people that are on here on this space read them, because I just think that would make it even more dynamic. Have Jaron read some, and Vincat, and just read them and just have this awesome book for them. But in the meantime, Angry Pop, I wanted to tell you, if you could get your hands on some government textbooks, not just the actual textbooks, but high school textbooks come with audio play for all of the things in the textbook. Even though they don't teach the Constitution per se, there is a reading of the Constitution. And so if you know of somebody in your local high school area, they might be able to get you hooked up with that in the meantime. So they're all read. they're all read out loud. So for people, so
Wait, so I'm kind of old and I haven't seen a library book like that. What
Mhm.
you is there a thing you scan on it to find the audio?
Well, the textbooks come in like several different forms now. So you can actually get a textbook. What came with the old floppy, which still work, believe it or not. And then they also have them so that the kids get a script to their textbook via a computer, and everything on there is audio. So they can read and play it at the same time. It'll like read it to them, and it reads everything. And a lot of times these textbooks are donated to local libraries, or they're just sitting back there on a bookshelf not being used at all. And it might have the disc or a flash drive or something in there with it. I will look at my school to see what I have for Indiana, but I could just read Indiana's faster than I could like mess with all that. But I'm just saying for Angry Pop to get started with a few, you can usually get these pretty dirt cheap, if not free. So, and just pull out the reading of the constitutions in the books. So,
How old a book are these where they actually did that? Because currently I don't believe they would have that in them. Right.
well, the books that we have at our high school are 5 years old and they're in the books.
Really?
So, yes. Yep. The ones in the state of Indiana. So they're in there. Like I said, not a whole lot of the unit is dedicated to the Constitution, but they're in there. And like I said, they're all audio for kids that are, that have disabilities, blind. We've got a couple kids that are legally blind. They can't read the books, nor are they in Braille yet. So they listen to the whole book. So
One of the things
just
you comment to
say again.
one of the things we want to do is add commentary to the bills and declarations of rights, in addition to,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So having them already read would be helpful there, but just getting them read was that's like a huge task that
Yeah.
needs to be.
Yeah.
And if they're already done, then let's leverage that.
Hey,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be cool if anybody from, say, the Midwest would read the Midwestern ones because the accents were right then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny?
See the problem.
Except we have Vincat read one.
Well, that was my intent behind it is having people from the various states read their state constitutions so that people, could identify with them
Yeah.
easier.
And understand the words better.
It would be so funny though.
Because of the slang or the lingo.
Yeah, Vincat, he's living in Texas now, but he's, got that Indian, a little bit of Texas twang going on too.
Yeah, I like that. You look, I'm.
And I don't even know if he's still on there, but it's pretty funny. But it would just be so fun. It would be such a family thing to do for these people that need it, and I think it'd be great. I often think with me teaching sign language, how many deaf people don't know this stuff? It's like, okay, God, where are you going to use me on this one? They have no access to it. Well, what we're teaching, they have no access to this stuff.
May I say something?
Sure.
There are already, we can read it, but there are already in place services for, say, for example, someone who is blind in school. When they'd go to school, they would hire someone to read them the particular textbook if it was not already recorded for them ahead of time. So I would be hired to read for a few people who were blind. And that's what I did in college, trying to make money, well, I was trying to get to college, get that done in the beginning. So I know that program exists where when someone is handicapped and they cannot read for themselves, there is a service. You send out whatever you want read and they read it for you. They will hire someone to read whatever you need for you. So that does exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is a good service. Most schools by law they should be offering those services to the people that need it. I know a lot of times it's just hard to find the people that can do it. So like in the state of Indiana, we only have 40 licensed sign language interpreters for the if they could. and a lot of those go into schools to help kids. So, it's just another one of those fields that need to be done. But if we got them all read and recorded and we give them off to Pilsner to do his wonderful clickety-clack ding-dong thing that he does, we'd be all set. Right, Pilsner?
I can definitely organize them. I can't read them because...
Hey, there's sorry, go ahead, Pilsner.
Well, I was just saying, I can't read them because I'm in Texas and I don't sound like I'm from Texas. And if I read the California one, my head would explode in anger over all the crap that's in there. And I don't like reading. But
I wanted to ask a question about that because the Virginia Constitution, the Bill of Rights, they describe due process, sort of, but they have modified it a lot. And should we make a note of that? Maybe read the real definition of due process, and then
I think the historical constitution of each state, because we are always going back to everything should be historical of the reading of it, because that's what we will always go back to.
In other words, here's another example. Article 1, Section 15 of the Virginia Constitution has to do with the frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. There was only the first sentence that was in the original Constitution. And the rest of it does not particularly conflict, but it was an amendment to it. Would I go back to the original and just read the simple phrase or the simple sentence that was originally there? Is that what you're suggesting?
What do you think, Angry Pop? What do you want? This is your baby.
Well, if we read the original text and then any time that they've done an amendment to the original text, it should be mentioned that it was amended on such and such date, and this is the amendment that they did to change the language of it. It wouldn't take away from the original meaning, but it would bring to occasion the question in people's mind as to how and why they amended the Constitution.
Right.
And because I have discovered where several constitutions were amended by the legislative body without ever going to public vote. Therefore, they aren't actually amendments to the Constitution. They were legislated alterations of the Constitution. And there is a contradiction there that the people does have the authority to bring into question and call back any of those amendments that were unconstitutionally amended, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, sure does.
Recently, here in the state of Alabama, the people voted to allow them to remove racist language from the Constitution. And while doing that, our legislators tried to alter the language of the Constitution in a couple of spots, and I called them out on it before they actually finished it, and because they were required to propose it and to the people for final approval, and I opposed their change in some of the language because it had nothing to do with race. They tried to change the entire meaning of the Constitution when they did that change, and I proved it to them, and it went back to the original text because that didn't have anything to do with racist language, and that was the only thing we approved for them to do. So they got caught, basically, and they had to make that necessary correction because we did not authorize them to amend the Constitution, only to remove racist language from it. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for you guys.
Well, I think we're on the right path for you there, so to get this done. So I think Summer had a great idea of, making a list. Maybe we can just in this chat, if you're willing to read your Constitution, it, just gives your name and the Constitution that you're willing to read it, so we can start getting a list together, and then we could just help Angry Pop out. I know he's still really tending to his wife, which is his priority. So this would be something really fun to do for him. So it'd be great. Be a great mission.
I was going to say there's a gentleman in here, Craig, may know of a guy that might know and maybe have some software that could do this a little bit easier. I don't know if it makes sense to put it like on a Rumble or a YouTube. That might be the best bet. But Craig, if you want to reach out to your buddy Jovan, maybe he already has an idea how to do this. I'd be happy to read some, as long as somebody set it up easy and said, here, go to this website, click a few buttons, and start talking. Yeah, I'm game. I'm totally game for that.
We could just start a. We could just say, okay, Clint, let's do a space. I'll shut up. I'll host it. You're the only, you'll be co-host. You'll be the only speaker, or maybe Angry Pop is there to make commentaries. To say, hey, Clint, stop there. Let's go. We just record the space, and then when you're done, we end it, and then I record. I can take the audio, and also put the text up, in a video. Maybe get help from Riley. But once we got the audio, that's the key, right? It's the audio that we need, and we can cut it up from there.
Gotcha. So you're saying use Axe then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Axe. How we're gathering now. One thing I just want to mention, if you don't want to talk, then we're got a full panel, and there's two other people that want to come up and speak. So, just if you're not interested in speaking anymore, just drop down. Otherwise, put your hand up and
Pilsner, and also give people an example. My eyes flip letters and stuff around on the page. That's what gets me the most. Because my CP does weird stuff like that.
Do you like the videos where the words are highlighted when they're spoken, and it's just
yeah.
What's the longest number of words on a single screen do you prefer? Like 1, 2, 10, 20 words?
I'd say 7.
7 words? All right.
Because once you get above 8, it kind of gets where my eyes keep twisting words up and stuff.
I do too. I like it when I make a video and it's got highlighted, and it's a video on phone, it's sideways. Or it's, vertical and it should be sideways, and I can still read it because I make it nice and big, and I like that. Okay, thank you for the feedback. 7 words.
Yeah.
I don't know first.
Angels was up next, and then Alan, and then Summer.
Hey there, I just had a quick question. Where's the best place to find the original, go back to the original Constitution for the state? I've looked on the state website. Is that the best place for the archive? Or
Ballotpedia.
Oh,
Ballotpedia, really, really good. And I went back to my library, believe it or not. So I went back to my library. They keep a bunch of old books and all kinds of things. And I was able to find a really old book with the Indiana Constitution in it. So, but I do know that Ballotpedia has the originals. And then they also have the amendments and things added to it. So it's a really good place to go.
I'll just say California was really hard to find. I couldn't find it on Ballotpedia, the original. I did find it.
You couldn't?
And I just posted it because I have it on speed dial to post that, because it is way better than the current one.
Yeah. So where did you find it? Since you couldn't find it in
I just
Ballotpedia.
kept doing web searching through, and I found one that was just an image of it, but it wasn't characterized.
Mhm.
And then I kept searching and searching, and it was some law school like in the Midwest that had a copy of it, but no major university had it.
Yeah. You know, these really old bookstores, used bookstores, those are really fun to go into too. You might be surprised on what kind of Black Law's Dictionary edition you might get going in. Oh, but that's where you can just have to search and find. I mean, they're there. I don't know if State House has them. They have them like your original state constitution is usually at the State House. So maybe there at the physical building.
Well, thank you. I found kind of an older one, but like I said, it's been put up on through. I think might have been a government website. So and it shows the handwriting. It takes a while to read it. It wasn't digitalized, so it looks similar. But sometimes you're like, if they like to hide things from you, I'd go back to the book or find an original somewhere. So, all right, thank you.
Go ahead, Alan. Alan, you have to unmute, buddy.
You got to hit your mic.
He might be
Okay, there it is. It finally did it.
okay, there it is.
Thank you. What I did with on Ballotpedia, I pulled off the preamble to a state constitution, and then the Declaration of Rights, and then I'd go like let's say Alaska, and then Arkansas, and then I just kept working through. So then I had like a quick document that I could go and get the preamble and the Bill or Declaration of Rights of each state, and so you could quickly go through it. And I was thinking, as we format it, that the audios, if you break them into so that you'd have it, somebody could actually take those audio files and kind of do the same thing. So they may not want to go through, the state legislature does this and the state said, all the different articles, but you do want to be able to know the Declaration Bill of Rights from all the other states, because your rights are inherent and they're innumerable, and so they're common to all men. So we know the state constitution, Declaration of Rights apply to everybody, and that would be a way for them to learn their declaration and their Bill of Rights and the fundamental laws in a real quick way.
Al, already compile that for, because that's exactly what I've been trying to do. I've done California, I've done Texas, and I've done Colorado, but I haven't done the other 47, or as Obama would say, 57 states, I think. But if you already have that, can you please send me a copy? I don't know, on Telegram or in the back channel here on on DM or something, please, sir.
In Word document.
Word document's fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, you've got it there. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Summer.
I didn't know if Clint is still here. I can't see anybody's faces. But if Clint is here, do you want to split up the Wisconsin Constitution where, I read half, you read half? I could do the Bills of Rights, you could do the form of government, or vice versa.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
All right, just let me know which one you want to tackle.
You pick, and I'll play cleanup.
Okay, you do form of government, because you got a lot of that good stuff in there. And I think you'd do better with that.
Yeah, there's some rights that are in the form of government as well in your constitutions, guys, that aren't real publicized. You know, like the right to instruct our government. That's in the form of government. You know, so uh, don't shy away from getting that form of government in there, because those limitations is what they are abrogating right now. Okay. I mean, and the more people that realize that the government is exercising authority beyond their limitations, the stronger they will become as warriors in this fight to preserve and defend our constitutions, since our representation is lacking in that duty. So, you know, just to put it mildly, but yeah, there's a few rights that are intertwined within the forms of government as well, so that they are always amenable to us, and it constantly reminds them throughout those articles of how they're supposed to be operating a free government, Republican in form. And so that preserves our rights as well. Just to let you
I
know.
actually noticed that in the Wisconsin Constitution, where they talk about the ultimate property belongs to the people, and the whole going from heir to heir, you know. But they don't have that in the Bills of Rights. They put that in the form. So yeah, I did notice that they were tricking stuff in there.
Something, Summer, though, when you brought that up, it just was a great segue into something that, I just kind of want to put out there. We don't have to get into a long conversation about it, but I think we're all very well aware of the poisoning that is going on in our skies. Give me a thumbs up if you guys know about the poisoning going on in our skies, because it's really bad. And yesterday alone, I counted 20 jets laying chemtrails in 40 minutes. That's a lot of poison. And so I just kind of feel like, I know we have a lot of other things going on, but just a couple of people, and I'd be more than happy to help get some kind of major notices sent out to our government that this has got to stop. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. I see a lot of thumbs up and 100%, but I just think that with this crew, we could probably come up with a notice slash affidavit that could be sent off to the powers that be, and really go after HARP. HARP is the one that's making it happen. Just a godless, it's a godless entity that's receiving our tax monies to do this, and I'm like, gotta stop.
One thing about
I want to put that out there.
Tennessee has, I don't know if they passed it, but they actually have a bill to cease and desist with with those chemtrails. And also, I understand that there was another one about poisoning the food. They're going to make them label it as drugs if they contaminate it with a vaccine and that type of thing. So I'd be curious if I could get a hold of that bill that actually passed and the one that's written. That might help us with a notice.
Right. Well, and New Hampshire had a bill on the floor, and Texas did too. And I don't know what came of them. And we could go the bill route. My thing is they're infringing upon our rights, and we really don't need a bill. We just need to tell them, hey, you're infringing upon our rights. Tell us in the Constitution where you have the right to spray aluminum, chloride, over us, and it's our property. They don't have the right to do it.
Well, I agree. But my intent in saying that was we might get some verbiage from the bills that we might want to put into our notice, because the notice is definitely the way to do it.
Right. Right. And I'm just now learning how to write notices. So but I'd be more than happy to help do the research. I already have several maxims that would go with that, to be plugged in. So I've done that, but notices are not my strength, and I'm getting better at them. But I just really feel like if it's not under control soon, it's not going to get under control soon.
Well, they certainly.
I don't see anybody else doing it.
Yeah, they certainly shouldn't be adding anything other than jet fuel and oxygen that comes from the air. which does produce water, and there is water vapor that comes out the back.
Right.
So there is vapor trails for sure. So you're always going to have vapor trails, even if they clean up else.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand that. Even if you pass some bill,
True.
you're going to see vapor trails because a hot water comes out as vapor from the back jet engine, along with.
Yeah. Yeah. There is absolutely vapor trails. And I guess, when you start training and researching and looking to see, what a vapor trail does versus a chemtrail, chemtrails always go in patterns, right? I mean, and they stay in patterns, tick-toe patterns, that kind of stuff. So, and you can see them fused together. I've done a ton of research on how these suckers come
together. It doesn't
together.
matter the pressure and the humidity and whether the sun is out. I mean, the air is very complicated, and water in air is also complicated. So I wouldn't rush to anything. But if you have proof that somebody is aluminum and magnesium to the air directly, as like an afterburner or just something coming off the wing, then definitely we need to go after that for sure. I'm with you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Soil tests and stuff like that are showing how it's coming down and that it's in the air. So,
well, you need to prove where it's coming out of the plane. When you find that, then you can have it for somebody be a first-hand witness and sign affidavit saying they see the chemicals actually in the plane. They know where they're coming from, how they come out, and then you've got it for sure.
Yep. Yep. Well, that would be easy to do. I already have videos, so.
Well, the thing,
I just don't know what to do with it.
When I was a kid, I never saw these huge things that just billow out and I mean, spread. You would see the jet, and like today, okay? I saw a couple of jets. One of our friends said, well, it's a chemtrail. I said, no. I said, because that stream is disappearing behind it. It's not lingering or spreading out. When I see it do a streak across that sky, and that thing keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that makes me wonder, what is it? Because jet fuel is supposed to burn clean. That's, it's kerosene.
And then if water and it condenses, if it's humid enough at that level, it'll attract more water. And the engines.
All right. How can you see one plane that the tail of it is disappearing and the other one is getting bigger and bigger, and they're about at the same altitude? How does that happen?
Well, they might not be, but they also might have the same engine. Larger engines are going to burn fuel. And
oh, okay. All right. Well, I hope I don't have anything to freak over about, but I see them a lot. It's scary.
Probably 1,000 ways that we're being poisoned, and that's just maybe one of them. I would focus on the constitutions. That's what I would really. Let's get our servant.
They're good advice.
Because there's so many things wrong with the food and the way that they're the medical industry is not. It's a sick care system, not a health care system. There's a lot of stuff wrong, and so getting rid of that one thing is a needle in a haystack. It's like, just first we got to get back to what God gave us and get our God-given rights back into place, and that's teaching people. And so I'm all for reading the constitutions.
Hey, Angry Pop. Pilsner,
go ahead.
Pilsner had posted a link to Ballotpedia that has all the constitutions on them. And if y'all open that up, I have in the Edge browser, it will read it to you. And then I also posted a link to a YouTube video that reads through the United States Constitution. But Ballotpedia, yeah, you can go through it and have your browser read it to you while you look through it. I posted it under the Dave's post for this space and showed where you click it in your browser for it to read. But I think it's a great idea, though, having people from each state read, part of theirs, read their constitution, so you can get the language from that. I'm from Louisiana, so whatever that would sound like. Well, God, you don't want me reading it, but I like the fact of us reading it. But you can get it read through a reader on the Edge browser. And also in Internet Archives. Internet Archives, on the Internet Archives, you can go and it can read it to you if you sign up for a free account.
Hello, this is Sandy Zane. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Angry Pop, this is for you and Pilsner. I wanted to let you know, Angry Pop, when you first brought up your idea months ago before your wife got ill, Jill and I have already recorded the Indiana Bill of Rights. We have that recording, and I contacted Jill tonight to send you her YouTube link on that. And we did that also with the intention of educating the people of Indiana and also for our legislatures that we're working with, and kept in mind to keep things short. And it has a video to it, and we show the Constitution and explain each section as short as possible, so it wouldn't linger on and not lose the interest of the people. And there are the way our Constitution is laid out, we notice that it's actually laid out in groups of topics. So we chose to go accordingly that way to cover each of our recordings. So I just wanted to let you know that that's done for Indiana. Jill sent you the link, and if you're wanting to use it, it's right there for you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandy. That's like I say, it takes all of us to pull this thing together and getting it out there so that it's available for everybody. I mean, I know that they've got things hidden here, there, and everywhere on these programs and these government documents, and it's just so hard to get to the brass tacks of it. And that's the reason why I wanted to reach out to more people to get more people involved, because that would bring it to the forefront of conversation. Because if somebody's participating in something like this, they'll have more of a tendency to speak on it more as well and share it with people that they know personally, to say, look what I'm doing or what I've done. And that personal knowledge would allow for more people to gain an interest and maybe listen, and that's all I'm after. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the preservation of our nation, guys, and restoring order. It's I'm passionate about it. I'm a staunch constitutionalist. I always have been, and it's one of those things that getting people to actually take the time to begin to read their constitutions is with a true interest in it, and then progress happens because it starts to hit them. So yeah, I appreciate it, and like I say, this is something that I really wanted to do and make it available to everybody. I have no intentions of trying to create a revenue stream or anything like that. It's, though I could use a little bit of money these days, but it's not important to me. What I want is to get the information out there so that everybody can have access to it, and hopefully they'll start wanting to learn more about how to exercise the remedy that's spelled out in the constitutions as well.
And our source that we used, we stuck with how Dave has taught every group in each state. We used the Ballotpedia for the accuracy of our Constitution. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to somebody else. But thanks again. Watch for the link from Jill. She'll send it to you.
Sandy, before you go, have you read the California Constitution, the one that's on ballot?
No, well, just remember, we only did the Bill of Rights. We didn't do the whole Constitution.
Just the Bill of Rights.
No, I have not.
Oh my goodness! You'll see something that was written in 1849 now has a point one next to it, and then there's A, B, C, D, E, F, and paragraphs of lawyerese after each one of those letters, and you'll see a single so-called right that goes on for like a page.
Yeah, what they like to do is they like to rework the constitutions to look like statutes.
Exactly.
That's one of the tricks.
Sure.
So the more words you add to something, I guess the more diminished something can be. So it's not. Yeah, they're doing the same thing here. They're trying to, they added 2 questions to our ballot on our state constitution here in Wisconsin, and it's just nobody brought this up, and the way they were worded, these questions were just so torturous. Nobody even thinks that way, let alone asks a question that way to put on a ballot anyway. And it was just ridiculous. So they definitely want to attack the constitutions because that's the one thing that they know binds them, so they definitely want to play with them.
Yeah, Jill and I have both looked at our original Constitution, the very first one, and it's really interesting how they laid it out and what the language was in certain areas, too. So one of the primary reasons we did this, too, was Angry Pop had that in mind for his project. We didn't talk about going into explaining anything that we saw amendment-wise that is seen in Ballotpedia when it was amended, like the grand jury in Indiana was amended in 1970, I believe it was. I forgot what month right now. But what our goal was to basically teach the people with what we're looking at right now. We can always come back and do something more in depth for scholars who are wanting to find those deeper pieces, but for the sole purpose of disseminating the information to the population is we've just taken, as Dave has taught us and as he's explained constitutions through the course of time that we've been studying with them, we've sort of taken that kind of style to present, to start with Article 1, our Indiana Bill of Rights. So that's how our approach was at this point for the uses of what we had. And again, Angry Pop, if that's what you need, it's already in place. And then if you need something else, that can always be redone, though.
So
but I appreciate your input. I do understand what you mean by California. Oh my goodness, I'd hate to, boy.
Well, so to be clear, you're reading the original.
No. We have found when we came into the group, we looked at what Dave told us to do. We looked at the Indiana Constitution in Ballotpedia.
Okay.
But as Jill and I began to study, we went ahead and found the original one to do comparisons to see where it is today and where it was when it was first written.
Well, I'll tell you that, in some states I've done that and it's not so bad, but in California, it reveals a crime scene. So
I believe that.
You look at it and you go, wait a minute, if I just read it the way it is in Ballotpedia, I might be doing a crime to people's minds because the crime scene had happened in the 70s. Yes, definitely.
Oh, I get you. Sure, I understand where you're coming from for your state. Sure.
Yeah, for some states. Well, it's not my state anymore. I moved out 4 years ago, but I love California. If it wasn't for the public servants, and the trustees that are there that don't understand that they can't do the stuff that made us move out. So I would love to move back and correct what's happening in California, so I could go back to that beautiful state that got created. It is a beautiful, physically beautiful.
Yes, it is.
So I think there are some states like that where things much it's like, whoa, what do we do with this? Like some mixture of the original, and so there might be a lot more work on California. But good news, there's a lot of people in California that could possibly read it. So there's that.
So that's the good thing.
Yeah.
And don't forget that there's a lot of maxims that would probably help a lot of. I mean, once they understood that the maxims, a lot of them, basically existed before the Constitution. There's phrases and bills of rights and things in California's that read like statutes, and when you read them on their face, they're like, wow, that's not right. So yeah, I guess the more you learn about the law, diving into the fundamental principles behind and before the constitutions and in the common law, that well, I do, but at some point, the people are going to have to understand that the way that was written and some of these provisions in these constitutions need to be changed. But obviously, that's going to be down the line. But
Yeah.
it'll come.
God's timing is perfect.
Amen. You guys do awesome work. It's been a while since I've heard your voice, Sandy, so it's good to hear you.
Yeah, well, we're working. We're helping one of Jill's friends out in Colorado now, so we're getting something rolling over there a little bit within the school. So we're trying to help that person. So
you guys are always doing something good. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm trying to fight some things here locally that I've been trying to stay really close to. We've got one win with regard to that they shut down the whole project and they moved it to another location. So that took place. But now, Angry Pop, I might have to get hold of you. This one's on zoning. I don't want to talk about it tonight because my brain won't absorb it. But I'm watching a situation where they want to zone in a certain area into industrial. So I'm trying to gather the pieces to understand about that particular land to see if a notice needs to be written on that. So, but again, I'd like to talk with you out of this space because it is getting late for some of the people. So, but thanks. Good hearing you, Clint, too.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that in the late 1960s and the early 70s, after the final arguments over the Equal Rights Amendment was finished off, they did force the states to adopt certain measures that were in a UN treaty, such as the International Building Code, that nobody in no states ever voted for, but they were adopted into the constitutions. Just to let y'all know, that's one of those little things that they used a treaty to alter the state constitutions that they didn't have the authority to do. And along with the adoption of the zoning laws that were under U.S. code, that were also the issue that Sandy was talking about, that they did adopt the usages of the zoning. And me personally, I think it was deceptive, and it was deceptive on the grounds that the federal government trying to claim a jurisdictional authority by that deception. And so that's the reason why I bought land in an unzoned township, and I have fought so far 4 different mayors on trying to introduce zoning, and brought the whole town with me to do it and blocked them. So no, zoning is a farce and a falsity, that once you allow them to adopt zoning, they can expand it forever without any other input from the public. So, yeah, it's a deceptive law for the purpose of federal government claiming jurisdiction beyond their limitations. So, it's all a jurisdictional argument, guys. It's, believe it or not, it's that simple. One thing Dave taught us was to look at the simplicity of it, and don't get lost in the complexity of the ambiguity that legalese puts into it. Look for the simple things, because our constitutions were established under the common language, which established it as the common law that all men should know. inherently because it was a common language. But whenever they introduced the foreign language of legalese into amending the constitutions, they gotten away from the common language so that you have to decipher it as to the meaning, which that shouldn't be ever the case whenever you're speaking to someone. And that's the reason why our constitutions is based upon the common language and the common law. And yes, the common law at the time of our founding was based on the King's common law, but that was the law as established that all the people in all of the colonies were accustomed to. And that's the reason why John Jay was tasked with creating American jurisprudence. And, anybody that's read the Maxims, 51 O, P, and Q, American Maxims expressly state the limitations of government. They expressly state the cause for them to go frequently to the foundational principles to establish law. And your American maxims were to separate for the purpose of separating the king's authority from the land forever. And that's the reason why they were drawn up the way they were drawn up, and the authority given under 51O was that the authority came from the decree of God Almighty that gave we the people all political power. And that's not some of the time, that's all of the time, and that's something that they've overlooked and misrepresented themselves with authority outside of the limitations that they were given. So it's going to take some work. It's going to take some doing, but I believe we got this. God's on our side. We're standing on right. We're standing on His truth and His knowledge that He shared through His word with us. And that is the same knowledge that our forefathers used to establish the Declaration of Independence that separated us from the King's law. It's the same language that was used in the state constitutions when they were formed simultaneously at the same time at the founding of our nation. And a lot of people overlook big time the Articles of the Confederacy that our nation was formed under. Those formation documents are very important. Did the United States Constitution completely wipe out the Articles of the Confederacy? I'll leave that to you to judge. Read them for yourself and look into it, because the Articles of the Confederacy is how this nation was established, and it established the states' rights above the federal government. Absolutely, without unequivocally, that the states maintained their authority over their territories, and the law of that land was the law of the land for that state. And that was in a case from 1778, I believe it was, if my memory is right. And that was a debate that was had, and I believe it was the state of Massachusetts, if my memory is correct, that lawyer was the one that stated that the Constitution was the law of the land in his arguments with the court. And he won his case and established that the state constitution is the law of the land of that state. Yet it has been hijacked by the United States government along the way to say that they were the supreme law of the land. But it was first done in a lawsuit in, like I say, I believe it was 1778 in Massachusetts, if my memory is correct on that, and it established that the Constitution of the state was the supreme law of the land of that state. And so, yeah, they're just trying to recreate the same debate that happened at the beginning, why federalism did not win out whenever they drew up the United States Constitution. And that's the reason why Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution clearly states that a free government, Republican in form, is guaranteed to all states, because that was one of the provisions that the states demanded to be there, that they preserved their authority and their rights independently of the federal government. So, just thought I'd throw that out there for anybody that may not have heard of that before. I know a lot of us that study with Brother David knows these things, but it's one of those things that it's worth looking into, your Articles of Confederacy, because having that base knowledge before looking at the United States Constitution gives you a different perspective as to the reason why some of the language in the U.S. Constitution exists the way that it does. So go ahead, Joe.
Hey guys, good evening. Angry Pop, how are you?
I'm good, Joe. How
I'm
you
doing
doing?
very well, thank you. I have some great news, guys. If you haven't heard, last week SCOTUS ruled in favor of property owners countrywide, by the way, for every state, that it is unconstitutional for additional fees, land use fees, etc., on land use permits. So, with this decision, property owners now have more freedom to do as they wish on their land without permits, additional fees, etc. It's a very exciting decision. It was a unanimous decision from SCOTUS. I did put that in the purple pill if anyone is interested. And hopefully, Pops, this will have a positive effect on your issue with your land use. So hopefully this brings a lot of good news to all homeowners. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I saw that, and I'm helping somebody in California right now with that very issue. That is part of the issue. Them forcing a grading permit before he can move mounds of dirt on his land. So yeah, it's an ongoing issue across the nation, and California seems to be bucking the system, thinking that they can be an adversary against the people.
The ruling on there that was actually quite a bit broader, more broad than what you'd think, because the what they said was you cannot take private property without just compensation. So I know it was about a land issue, but property in general is a lot bigger than land. So we're taught that, you can't, well, the government can't, it's our entity and it's there to benefit us. So they can't take, and the Supreme Court reaffirmed the law historically. I know that's kind of weird to say, but we were taught when we were, obviously within the last 5 years, now when the Supreme Court says something, it's like now we get a new permission. That was never really the case. It's just that the Supreme Court is finally telling the truth and reaffirming what we already said in the beginning when the constitutions were made. But the ruling was about property in general. So that ruling is going to be a lot bigger than just your land use or your property as far as your land is concerned. It's all property. So that it is the 9-0 decision is amazing and much bigger than a lot of people understand. Just like when people say they don't understand what the Bruin case did, and a lot of people think that the lawyers will think that the Second Amendment, because it's the Second Amendment type of issue, that the Bruin ruling went back to the historical usages and customs because it's a Second Amendment issue. It's not a Second Amendment issue only. Supreme Court has been telling you since Bruin 2 years ago that they're going to be ruling this way finally, back to the original intent when the constitutions were made. So they're using that historical analysis with all of their decisions going forward. And obviously they weren't doing that for probably the last 100 years. So yeah, that is great news. Thanks for bringing that up, Joe.
Yeah, Clint, well said. SCOTUS is codifying existing law from the beginning, basically, and it's amazing. Thank you, Clint.
Yeah, and your rights are your property, guys. I was waiting on Clint to put that little bit in there. So, yeah,
Amen, brother.
they reaffirmed.
You bet. It's
They reaffirmed your rights as your property, and they don't have the authority to infringe upon your property without your permission.
Our rights are the property that we gave them, that we entrusted to them. So in the trust indentures known as the constitutions, those rights are the property that they are supposed to protect.
Yeah, but we didn't give it to them. We just gave them a few, so they can function. But the rest, we told them not to touch those rights. So they're untouchable. They're separated, reserved.
That's right.
Accepted from government is how it's worded. Accepted from government.
And it's all
meaning they can't touch it.
Life, liberty, and property. That is the founding principle. Life, liberty, and property. We just got a great decision last week, like Clint and Angry Pop said, from the courts, and it is far-reaching. You're right, Clint.
Clint is very good at explaining things. I really like listening, and so is Angry Pop.
Maximum 51P, the main object of government is the protection and preservation of personal rights, private property, and public liberties, and upholding the law of God. Now, whatever you tell a lawyer who is also a politician, that he is bound to uphold the law of God as written in the law, a fact that is indisputable in the law, as described by the maxims, it blows their mind. And one of those people that I spoke to was a judge that sat on the child court, and after debating with me, he resigned from the child court. So it does have effect whenever they learn the truth.
I hate to say it, but I think that Dave's going to need his phone back soon. I got a DM just recently, so we could take this to another space, but or people probably need to go to sleep. I don't know, but we got to give Dave his phone back. And thank you, Dave, for letting us use your space to continue talking, because I think it was really productive being able to talk about recording the constitutions and then about them. So Dave, I don't know if you need to, when you need to shut it down, but I guess when the space ends, it ends. So we'll just keep talking until it just disappears.
Yeah, Pilsner, if you want to start another space, I'll come in with you for a bit and hang with you for a little while. If Dave wants to end the space at his convenience, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, 5 minutes, he says. So,
okay, cool. Thanks, Brother David.
Thanks, David.
You guys, Cole is with us in the room, and it's like old times for me with Cole, Angry Pop, and Filzer. By old times, I mean like 6 months ago, 6 months or a year ago. It's really nice. It really is.
Well, Pilsner, you want to pray us out of the space, and we'll move on so Brother David can get busy with his personal business and carry on.
All right. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet because I was about to set up another space. I'll just say, Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the time tonight to speak to each other, gather, assemble. And when two or more are gathered in your name, Jesus, you are here with us. And I'm so thankful to be surrounded by so many of my brothers and sisters who have come to understand what you gave us in the constitutions. And in addition to saving us by dying on the cross to keep us with you, if we so choose to repent of every sin and accept the Holy Spirit in us and be with you forever. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
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 Amen.